soon as I can set up the TikTok portion of the program. I do appreciate you folks on YouTube tuning in. All right, so I think I got everything right. So we're going live in three, two, one. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Currently, President Joseph R. Biden is delivering a speech. Now, he has made some gains in the healthcare world, and he's really on the attack. Joseph Biden is really on the attack, attacking President Trump or former President Trump. Actually, a little bit of name calling is in there, but it is President Biden indeed. Now, Biden is holding his own. He's giving a speech, and make no mistake about it, he does sound like typical Biden. There's a bit slurs. There's some wording in there that you may question what the hell is he saying. There's some stuttering in there. He sounds like Biden. However, he is delivering a good speech. He is delivering some accomplishments he's made in the area of healthcare, lowering the cost of prescriptions on insulin and things like that, placing some caps on what they can charge you. And one in particular, this is one yours truly I may favor, and I'm assuming some of you folks also out there may favor this as well. Preventing healthcare agencies from ruining your credit due to medical costs. Let's say you go to the hospital, you have a major medical incursion, surgery, maybe a CAT scan, maybe an MRI, things that cost a lot of money, that your healthcare provider may only cover a small portion, or in some cases, none at all, no coverage at all. And of course, the medical provider or the clinic or wherever you have these procedures performed, they put you straight into collections, and then it can go on your credit report, damaging your ability to obtain credit and even possibly employment in the future. Well, President Biden has just stated the legislation they just passed, they cannot do that anymore, I believe, come January or the January after next. He said in January, but he said not this January, the next one. So it could be January of 2026. But he did say that. Now, also, he pointed out that not one single Republican was in favor of this. Not one single Republican helped out in regards to this. So we will certainly talk about that, because make no mistake about it, there's no shortage of Republicans that are also drowning in medical bills. This isn't something that is partisan. This isn't something that affects one side of the aisle or another. Any one of us can get sick. And we all likely will. If you live long enough, this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to encounter medical bills. That's part of getting old. Damn near every American that is at least 40 years old probably takes at least one prescription if you go to the doctor regularly. You encounter an American that's 40, 50 years old and I'm not taking any prescriptions at all, chances are they don't go to the doctor regularly. That's what happens. As you get older, shit starts falling apart, and you need to take prescriptions to maintain the balance in something or another. And if you don't have a job, you don't have good insurance, you may not be able to afford the cost of some of this stuff. So shout out to Biden for fighting to lower prescriptions, keeping this stuff from ruining people credit-wise, et cetera, et cetera. And being able to accomplish it with no Republican support is certainly a conversation we're going to have. So what we're going to be asking, I see somebody in the comments says, thank God I'm healthy. Problem is you don't know when that may end. You don't know when that may end. When Barack Obama was trying to pass the Affordable Health Care Act, known as Obamacare, a lot of young folks are saying exactly that. Why should I be forced to opt into government-provided health care when I'm 25 years of age and I'm healthy? You never know when your good luck in terms of health may end. People get hit by buses and shot all the damn time. You just never know. So shout out to Trump and Obama to a lesser degree, to a greater degree rather, for making this happen, but with no Republican support. Zero. So what we're going to ask right off the bat, one of the main topics of the show we're going to start out with is, should healthcare Should health care for American citizens, we'll talk about immigrants if you want to throw that in there, but we're talking about American citizens, folks who have a right to be here, folks who were born here, or at the very least with actual residency. Should health care be a right, or should it remain married to your employment? When we say married to your employment currently in America, you have to have a job to have decent health care, unless you go back to the government and get Medicaid, Medicare, or something like that. But for the most part, most Americans, their health care is tied to their place of employment. Should that continue, or should health care be a right? Because understand, we live in a society now where people don't work at the same job for 30 years and get a gold watch at the end and retire with a pension. That environment no longer exists. We now live in an environment where there is little to no loyalty between employer and employee, meaning that most Americans switch jobs quite a bit throughout their working career. Why are we bringing this up? Because when you're not employed, you're not insured. When you lose your job or you quit working, if you don't have another job to immediately fill in the blank or the void, you have no insurance. How many of you have switched jobs and received a statement from Cobra? Could you afford that in a time when you didn't have a job? Could you afford to pay Cobra to continue insuring you when you didn't have a job? Have you seen the prices to maintain your health care from Cobra? It's a fucking joke. So do you believe health care should be a right, or should it remain married to your employment? No job, no health care. What say you? Also, side topic, we always have two topics on the program. We're talking about Trump made a statement yesterday. We did post a video of this statement on the channel yesterday. This was in regards to a speech President Trump gave at a rally yesterday. I believe it was in North Carolina. I think it was in North Carolina. And he used the word grape and unaliving. You know what grape means, you know what unaliving means. Let's just replace unaliving with the word, with the M word. Red rum spelled backwards. He used the word grape and unaliving over and over again, and followed up by saying, now he's talking about immigrants. He stated, these people are brutal. They came out of the toughest jails all over the world. So what we're going to be asking as a second topic is, do you believe most immigrants in this country, undocumented, illegal, do you believe most of them are hardened criminals? Because that's what Trump is alluding to. They're coming from the toughest jails all over the world. And he stated, we just can take those folks in here. So do you believe most of the folks coming in this country illegally and undocumented or seeking asylum, that most of those folks are hardened criminals coming from somewhere else where they committed some major felonies, and now they are migrating to America? Because that is what Trump often says. So that is our two topics today. We always are going to be MAGA friendly. You know how the program is. We're MAGA friendly from day one till eternity. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with the host. You don't have to agree with anyone in the damn comments. That's how free speech works. We go left of Bernie Sanders to having dinner with QAnon. If you enjoy free speech without all the censorship, you're in the right place. Follow the program on TikTok and subscription on YouTube, if you will. Cow, appreciate you starting the program off right. So going to the comments, if we're going to have any kind of government assistance, it should be limited. Should have to pay it back once you're on your feet. Should be a citizen and should pass a drug test to get it, says V Pirate. So what you're saying is, if somebody, because you said if we're going to have, quote unquote, any kind of government assistance, it should be limited and you should have to pay it back. So let's take someone like rapper 50 Cent, who got shot like 9 times. He was shot 9 times by some other gangbanger apparently trying to take his life. Now, obviously, he's a multi-platinum rap star, movie star, and has plenty of money. But let's say that type of career never developed for him. Are you suggesting that this individual shot 9 times should have to somehow find a way to pay all. Do you realize how much the surgery costs for getting shot 9 times? So essentially, he would indeed be in debt for the remainder of his days. He would literally never get out of debt. I don't think even most working Americans, if you were between jobs and someone tried to carjack you or, God forbid, take your life and shot you a few times while you were unable to afford Cobra insurance, the cost to save your life medically while you're uninsured, you would never be able to pay that back. You would never come into enough money to pay that back. So let me look into the comments. We'll go straight to the box, rather. You should have to pay it back. Wow. I think we know where this one is going to go. Nevertheless, we'll bring them up. Moo, the tuxedo cat. Should healthcare be a right? Moo, I already know. I'll give you the floor.
Medicare for all, my dude. Medicare for all, right? Yeah, absolutely. Healthcare should be a human right, man. Yeah.
So what about the notion when one of my guests stated, yeah, we should treat you, but you should have to one day pay it back?
Yeah, I mean, you are paying it, right? You're paying it. You're paying it through tax dollars instead of your own money, right? You're contributing to a large pool. I mean, it's your money, but it goes into a large pool. And, you know, countries that have this, they always find that it costs the citizen less money to have Medicare for all than to chip in with your employer. Because make no mistake, at this point, right, your employer's not really covering insurance like they used to. None of your employers are.
No, they're not. No, they're not. I mean, I have, you know, employee-provided health care, and I have, you know, I've gotten to be older. I got medical issues, and I'm getting to the point where my pocket portion is getting to be unaffordable, even though they're covering a large portion of it. I mean, I just having more medical bills. I can't cover the part that they're requiring me to pay, and I'm insured.
You know, eventually what's going to happen is if Republicans maintain control, they'll get brazen enough to the point where they create a loophole that employers who employ full-time employees don't need to give you insurance anymore. I guarantee you that's going to be on the way if you let the GOP maintain control of these types of things.
Yeah, I don't, and it's because we know the right side of the aisle believes in, you know, capitalism and self-reliance. I gotta agree with you. I believe that if the right had control, they would basically put your entire healthcare bill on you as a citizen.
Yeah. I mean, they already don't believe in having their employer responsible for much of anything, man. So they're definitely going to put that all on you if you don't go with a Medicare for all system and Republicans maintain control. I mean, you can just kiss your employer healthcare goodbye pretty much down the road, right? It's going to happen.
So I don't know. You do believe they would get rid of employer, because right now that's the only way to get healthcare is through your employer.
Yeah.
So
They don't care. Dude, they're going to eliminate the entire Department of Education. They want to privatize your Social Security. They want to get rid of the social safety net, my dude. What I'm telling you is exactly what they would love this plan of mine right here. They're probably drooling as it is. They're salivating at the idea of not holding employers responsible to give the middle class insurance anymore. They love that shit.
So then what will we have, a society full of uninsured people?
Yeah, man, because, you know, they're not really America first, right? Because they won't like this policy that Joe Biden did. They won't know why they don't like it, right? They'll just say, I don't like it. They won't be able to tell you why. They won't be able to describe through their thoughts. They're just going to say, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah. But they're not America first, my dude. They're all full of shit, right?
Well, considering the fact that MAGA is no richer than the rest of America, why do you think the right would favor getting rid of universal health care and health care being a right for this? Why would folk no richer than anybody else be against giving their own self-health care?
Why these maggots vote against their own self-interest constantly over and over and over again. And what I figure is they do want a fascist society where people get no benefits, where you're really on your own and you need to put, no matter how poor, no matter how screwed up your situation may be, you're going to have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? It's going to be altruism, like extreme altruism.
Wow. And I see in the comments, Steve says they don't even realize they are poor. How could you not realize you're poor? Now, right after that, user unavailable, what a hell of a name is that, says racism. Do you think any of this has anything to do with racism?
I don't think this in particular has anything to do with racism. I think this in particular is just, this would satisfy their donors, right? Their donors would be very happy if they don't need to contribute to people's insurance anymore. So I think that they would be very happy because their donors would be very happy in the case, right?
even if it's at their own expense.
Yeah, so no, I'm talking the politicians would be
Okay,
happy.
all right,
MAGA
okay.
won't realize they're unhappy until they go to like the doctor, right? And eventually maybe even they make a loophole to where these places can refuse you care and they don't have to take you anymore, right? Like they'll make a law where if you can't pay, you can't play. Go to fuck home and just pass away, right? That's
Ooh,
what's gonna
that's
happen.
a really bad nursery rhyme, man.
Dude, they already have, right? They already have these unalive panels for women in red states, right? To where they do decide that these women, yeah, man, you might have to just unalive because we want you to have this baby. And even if the baby's unviable, we still want you to carry this baby. These are the unalive panels that they described to you fakely during the ACA's creation, right? They are talking about unalive panels. The Democrats are creating unalive panels. Well, it turns out, guys, the GOP, they did want to overturn Roe versus Wade the whole time. And they do want to do a federal abortion ban no matter how much they deny it to you, right? These are the types of things you're going to continuously lose as long as the GOP has power.
Yeah, but you gotta assume women on the right also get pregnant and sometimes may have
Yeah,
concerns.
I see like 70,000 Republican women going on with Kamala, right? To get with her now. They just had a meeting, Republicans for Kamala. There was like 70,000 Republican women there. It was fucking crazy, man.
70.
That's why I told you she's gonna get 100 million votes. You think I'm full of shit? You're gonna see.
And by the way, Michael Graham, thank you for the support. Appreciate that super chat. Yeah, 100 million votes for Kamala. No fucking way. You really believe it's going to be that strong?
Yeah, my dude. I mean, I'll stick with 100 million, but definitely between 90 and 100 for sure. For sure, my dude. She's going to get more votes than any other president, my dude. It's going to happen, right? And then what's going to happen? It's AI. AI counted the fucking votes. AI was at the election. It was all AI. That's what's going to happen. Watch.
Well, on behalf of MAGA, I have to ask the obvious question. Is it possible that Kamala Harris could get 100 million votes if the Democrats don't cheat?
They're going to tell you that the Democrats are going to cheat no matter what. No matter what you ask them, right? You can't ask them that question without getting a yes, bro. It doesn't matter. They'll come up with some crazy fakakta conspiracy theory, right? They'll just come up with anything, bro. Like JFK came and he took the votes and he gave it to AI and AI spit the shit back out the wrong way, right? That's what they'll say. They'll make some shit up like that.
Speaking of Kennedy, I'm hearing rumors that the Kennedy that's currently running with only 5% of the vote reached out to the Harris campaign and offered to endorse her if she would give him a seat somewhere in her administration.
Nope. Turn that down right away, bro. No. He takes away from Trump. I want him to stay in the race. He can just hang right in there, bro, and I don't need his endorsement. We're doing just fine without that wackadoo's endorsement. I'm good, man. I would say a hard pass on that.
But that's 5% of the vote, Moo.
No, that's 5% of Trump's votes, my dude. That's what that is. That's 5% of Trump's votes right there that dude's holding on to right now. Again, man, look, bro, they'll never come up here and say that they are. They'll never come up here and say it. And the reason I have such confidence at this point is because if Hillary would have done what Kamala has done, she would have won. If Hillary would have said to Bernie, you know what, come be my vice president, you would have united the left. And that's what Kamala has done at this point. She did what Hillary Clinton could never and refused to do. You're going to have a shit ton of voters riding with you. The left is not just the Democrats, man. The left is a coalition of all kinds of different people and spectrums across this country. MAGA is not that. They're just MAGA. That's it.
There's a lot of folks in the audience, at least on TikTok, that's favoring what you're saying. But of course, Gen X has an opposing opinion. Gen X says you need to stay away from strip clubs and coke if you're broke.
I mean, if your mom's giving away free coke and is dancing, bro, I'm gonna show up, right? I'm gonna show up. She's fine. I'm not gonna lie. Gen X's mama, tell her I said hi, man.
I can't fucking believe you said that. I gotta move it on, Move.
Listen, the dude thinks he's smart, right? And he gets over on some of your viewers, man. But that dude's never gonna get over on me, man. He's not that smart. He ain't that bright. And I understand he's one of your good viewers, but he ain't that smart, my dude. He just ain't.
Oh, that was awful. I gotta go. Appreciate you coming through.
Man.
Oh my Lord, bless his heart. Oh, Moo always. Damn, maybe I should spread him out a little bit. He's a lot to take for the first call. All right, so we're asking a question as I learn to compose myself after that conversation. By the way, in the comments, the host ain't smart. Who says that? Kennedy Cat says the host, referencing yours truly. The host ain't that smart. He think we are dumb enough to not know he's MAGA. Wow. Okay, fair enough for today. Just for the sake of Kennedy Cat, I'll represent MAGA. How about that, Kennedy? How about that? Shout out to you. By the way, folks, when we say uncensored, we go left to Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. We let everybody speak. You don't have to be favorable to any damn body out there. State your opinion without any concern of being blocked, banned, or censored, even if it's critical of the host. That's how we do it. Going back to the box, by the way, tap the screen, get the likes up to about 27. We can do that, 27K, almost 800 of you in here. Same on YouTube, smash that like button. Jessica says, what you need that pen for? Jessica Emma. Sometimes you have to write down notes. Some folks will say some wild shit. You don't want to interrupt the folks too often. So you do want to kind of jot down what they're saying so you can call out the BS later on or concede the point. Sometimes they know what they're talking about. Moving on with the program, we'll go to one of my subscribers, Oki Smile. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Oki Smile.
Hello.
Hey, so what do you think? Healthcare, should it be a right? Simply because you're an American citizen or you have residency and or citizenship, you automatically have health care. What say you?
Yes, healthcare should be a right.
So why is there so much resistance?
Because it's different. It's a change. It's not... Originally, it was going to be a government option, but during the years of depression when they couldn't get enough people to work, or Reconstruction, I guess, when they couldn't get enough people to work, they had to offer health care to get people to work for their small wages.
So why is there so much resistance in 2024? That's 100 years ago now.
Because it's been this way. People have been doing it this way for so many years. They don't realize that they're spending more money than they would spend otherwise. It's like your caller yesterday said that he's voting against himself because if he pays more taxes, he makes less money.
Yeah.
I can't remember
I do remember the caller. Yes, I do remember that conversation.
And people are voting against themselves this way because they don't realize that, and corporations, even millionaires, are voting against themselves because they don't realize that they will save more money going against the process of, they would save money because the health insurance, they wouldn't have to pay the exorbitant health insurance prices.
Yeah, but is this an issue, a partisan issue mainly coming from the Democrats? Because in the comments, Jeff Rash says, Dems always wanting free health care. I have health care and I pay for it. So why are there some folks like that and then there's some folks like you?
They don't realize that it's still going to be paid for. It's going to be paid for through our taxes.
True.
Okay? You're going to take, off the top, 10%, maybe 12%, based on whatever club you go to. You're not going to. You're paying for it now anyway, but you can pay for it at 10%, which is a lot less than what you're paying. My insurance is $250 a month.
Okay.
Okay. Per month. Or no, $250 a paycheck. So that is definitely more than 10% or 10% of my paycheck. But I'm also paying for Social Security, Medicare, paying for other taxes. And if we go to this idea that another creator has talked about, the way the Europeans do it is you are only taxed a certain amount, and that's all your taxes. You don't have to pay the additional money.
Yeah, but you got a lot of folks like from Canada that come here claiming their system sucks. Now, we're probably one of the only countries in the free world that does not give its citizens health care from birth.
Yeah, our system sucks too.
Yeah, but they're coming here. Some folks would say that some of them are coming here.
I've had a couple clients that say that, but it depends on everywhere where you're at and all that stuff and what your beliefs are. But most of them, they're probably pretty conservative and pretty religious.
They're definitely conservative. If anyone that says that, they're almost certain to be conservative.
But and you hear these people saying that they're going to move if Kamala Harris Kamala Harris.
Well, they're saying the same thing about Trump too. Every election cycle, someone suggests. I think Whoopi Goldberg or somebody said it some years ago. Everybody says that the wrong person gets elected, they're going to move. Do you think it ever happens though?
Maybe a couple times.
Yeah.
I'm planning on moving just to move. I don't care who gets elected.
Where are you going?
I haven't decided yet.
When you going?
It'll be a couple years.
Okay, all right.
So
So I'm assuming you probably favor Kamala over Trump.
Oh yeah. Just because, for the healthcare reasons, the loss of rights that Trump has caused.
Examples. What rights have we lost because of President Trump?
I haven't lost any because I'm a white guy. Old Gen X white guy. But my daughter has lost the right. If she ever gets pregnant, she can't have an abortion. In Oklahoma, you can find out in 6 weeks. You can only have an abortion in 6 weeks, and the sad part is nobody's fighting against that.
Yeah, I had a caller come on yesterday and swore up and down, a female, a Bree, I think her name was, swore up and down, women have not lost any rights. and abortion is legal still everywhere. She was pretty adamant of that. But I do agree with you. Okay, I do got to move it on, though. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you for your support. Come on back anytime.
All
right, moving the program on. And that's what we're asking is that, should healthcare be a right? Should it be divorced from employment? Currently in this country, the overwhelming majority of us that have health care, it's because we have a job and it is provided by the employer. As my first caller, Moose, stated, employers don't want to provide health care. If you look at the quality of health care and the cost of health care provided by employers, over the last few generations, it's been getting worse and worse. They don't want to provide health care. My guess is eventually they'll just give you a few bucks and tell you to go out and take care of your damn self. But they don't want to provide health care. It's getting worse and worse. Your out-of-pocket costs are getting higher and higher. Your deductibles are getting higher and higher. And the coverage is getting less and less. Every time your employer renegotiates a new health plan, it benefits them a little bit more and you a little bit less. So should we just simply separate health care and employment? We're going to go ahead and continue the program. Tap the screen. Get the likes up to about 40,000. We can make that happen with 600 plus of you in it. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. This is an uncensored program. By the way, the secondary topic before we go back to the box is President Trump recently stated, after using the term grape and unaliving over and over again, these people are brutal. They come out of the toughest jails all over the world. We cannot take them, referring to immigrants. Do you believe that most illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, those here seeking asylum, are here as violent felons, are here to commit mayhem, as President Trump seems to be stating, that most of the folks that come here illegally, undocumented, or seeking asylum are very bad people coming to America to do very bad things. Going to the box, I don't know what just happened there, but we'll keep it moving. Bring it up, Stick Darula. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Stick. A lot of folks say no. I'm happy with my health insurance, and I work for the railroad. What if you lose your job at the railroad, though, there, Frederick? What if your job is lost? Would you be happy with the insurance you have if you lost your job? Stick. Healthcare a human right. What say you?
I would definitely say it's a human right. I would definitely say it's something that they should add into to the Constitution as an amendment. I don't know. They need to go back to the books on a lot of things, but definitely that I believe is a human right.
All right. Let me ask you the second question because I just had a response in the comments. Do you believe that most immigrants coming in this country, illegal, undocumented, seeking asylum, or otherwise, are violent and looking to commit crimes in this country and mayhem?
No. And if it was that, it would be proof in the pudding. If
Well,
there is no proof.
but here is the alleged proof. Jay Vega on YouTube says crime is, and he has in caps, crime is way up everywhere they show up. Everywhere that immigrants, illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants show up, crime is way up in those areas. What say you?
I would say crime has been up in every area in the United States since the European came over. But that's my perspective.
You gotta explain it.
I mean, let's keep it G. When they got here, they seen that the native folks, they respected the land. They weren't digging and drilling and fracking. They wasn't. There really was no crime in a sense. Everybody got along, and as soon as the Europeans came over here, everybody was like, "Oh, I don't like you. I don't like you. You don't like me. Oh, okay." And they took everything as well. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, before you point the finger, make sure your house is straight.
Throwing rocks while living in a glass house. You know, I have said that before, that I do believe America operates on a takes one to no one basis because we have been unfriendly to every group of immigrants that have ever come here. The Irish, the Polish, the Jewish, the Chinese, every group of immigrants that have ever come to this country has been met with resistance by the inhabitants of this country. And I say takes one to no one because we know as American colonizers that settled in this country, we are, as you're stating, the worst immigrants to ever come here. We did more damage than any other group afterwards that came to this country. So I think you might have that one right.
And that's my point. You know, when again coming over here, remember it wasn't so much you needed a government to govern the land. That's not the way it was going. So at the end of the day, crime to me, in a sense, is not an invention, but when it's in a modern day society, I mean, crime is used to build your bank account. If you're a private citizen, crime is used to get taxes out of you. So at the end of the day, they see crime as a big price tag that they can capitalize on. And this is a capitalist country. That's what they're going to do. Anything that they can make money off of here in America, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. So the whole notion of immigrant, but how do you respond to Trump talking about, you know, that these folks are coming here to unalive and grape everybody?
Well, the whole thing of it is, again, Tim, I would have to say, show me the proof that this is happening on a mass scale, that every immigrant, including the children that are like 2 and 3 and still suckling mommy's nipple, that they're doing crimes. I mean, I don't know. There's stuff in blankets or something in the kid's diaper. I don't know what he's talking about. I really can't even think about what he's talking about because I don't see it. You get what I'm saying? I'm kind of like MAGA right now. I'm blind to racism and things like that. But on this, it's on this subject is what I'm saying. Like I just really don't see what they're talking about.
So then, why do you think he's saying it?
Well, it's the same reason he said, let me draw this circle with a Sharpie and move this hurricane over, or let's nuke it, or we need to tear down the windmills because the whales are beaching themselves because of the wind. Like, I don't know, bro. I mean,
did he say that windmills are causing, did he say that windmills are causing whales to beach themselves? Really?
These are the things that Donald Trump says. Nobody knows where he gets his information from. Nobody knows why he thinks that he can nuke away a hurricane. Nobody knows why he thinks that trickle-down economics work. Like, to me, the trickle-down economics is the same thing as nuking a damn hurricane. It's like, really? You really think that's going to work?
Yeah.
I mean, Reagan showed us that it doesn't work. But, I mean, if you want to go that route and you want to lose the election, go ahead.
Well, Reagan is viewed by a lot of folks to be one of the best presidents in history, though. Now, in the comments, though, Michelle S. Shout out to what? Go ahead.
I would say, yeah, 34 million probably say that, and those are all MAGA. The where the coin phrase comes from, and even MAGA right now, I don't even think it means the same thing that Reagan meant. I think MAGA means make America gangster again.
And what do you mean by that?
That's what I think it.
Gangster how?
Because that's gangster in the sense of we're gonna go back to the 1930s. Because again, you gotta make it great again. And in the 1930s and the 20s, that's all that was going on was gangsterism. You got people from Italy coming over, and in Chicago and anywhere else, New York, they got the mob. Then you got the Irish coming over. They had their thing going on as well, and just any other outside group that's not from America, but again, immigrants. Yeah, they was in control, and then that's why we have little China and little Tokyo and different places. They came over, they established what they wanted.
I don't know if I agree with any of that, but
they was gangsta at it.
All right, I don't know. Yeah, listen. I'm willing to be critical where I see criticism, but I don't know if I agree with that. But in the comments, Michelle S. said, in regards to immigrants taking lives and sexually assaulting everybody, she said it's been happening for months. Rapes and murders, suggesting that you live under a rock. And Jay Vega said, well, then ask you, how does Japan have the least amount of crime and the least amount of immigrants? Suggesting that if you get rid of immigrants, you lower crime.
I would say Japan ain't the only one that think that way, but at the end of the day, the Japanese are different people. Their culture is different. Things that we may consider a crime here may not be a crime over there. Yeah. Things that we don't consider a crime here may be a crime over there. For instance, real simple. Go over there and spit on the ground. See if something happen to you.
Yeah, I don't know about the spitting. I don't know about the spitting on the ground, but I do agree with you. They have different laws, such as they don't have any guns over there. They are really anti-gun.
And guess what? That's a main contributor to a lot of crime here in the United States, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the predominant weapon of choice for criminals. But I got to move it on, Stick. I don't disagree with that at all. Go ahead. I give you the last word.
So with that being said, if you got a place that doesn't have any pew-pews or weapons of that sort, other than the old school Tanaka sword, crime is going to be real low, because nobody's in their right mind is just going to go out and try to Tanaka like 3 or 4 or 5 different people at one time, especially when everybody's crafted in that skill in a sense.
I don't think Japan. Yeah, Japan probably has never had a mass unalived. Maybe with knives, maybe a few, but compared to America, it's not even a fraction. Appreciate it, Stick, as always. Got to move it on. Yep. All right. And real quick in the comments, thank you. And real quick in the comments, Fancy Prancy, friend of the show, says, and yet their leader was assassinated. Yep, that actually was not their leader, Fancy. The person that was taken out was no longer in power. He was a former leader, and he was, I believe he was a former, I don't believe he was currently in power. Was he? I don't believe he was currently the leader of the country when it happened. But even if he was, I do recall them saying he was the second shooting in that country in the whole year. He was the second person to be shot in that country. It happened with a homemade weapon. It happened with a homemade weapon that only had 2 shots in it or something like that. But he was shot. You are correct. He was shot over there in Japan. But at the end of the day, the amount of unalivings by firearm in America, in terms of the first world, there's nobody even close. Percentage-wise, now we have more citizens than most first world countries. But even percentage-wise, nobody's even close. We do shoot a lot of people in America. A lot of people get shot here. Looking in the comments also, Heath Wheeler, thank you for the super chat. Two-part question. Dems and leftists say Trump will be a dictator, but Kamala said the same thing with Kamala said the same thing with this health care for all. They can and will dictate whether we live or die. Doctors can't treat, and doctors will leave the practice. Okay, now you're comparing folks suggesting that Trump wants to be a dictator with the way the Democrats are trying to run the healthcare system. I'm going to say, in my opinion, that part is a stretch. I mean, if you're going to be a dictator, it's going to cover a hell of a lot more than healthcare. Now, you're saying they'll say whether doctors can treat and doctors cannot. What do you think the private healthcare system is doing now? I personally have had CAT scans and shit like that rejected because the employer-provided healthcare said no. I think just about all of us that have had major medical issues probably had a procedure denied simply due because your healthcare system didn't want to pay for it. It's happening anyway. Even if Kamala Harris and Biden don't do anything with healthcare, that's already happening. You're already having people saying that they can't get things done, they can't get access to certain drugs because their healthcare provider won't cover it. So that's actually already happening. I would actually prefer the Kamala Harris, Joe Biden plan because I believe it works more in my favor than somebody doing it for profit. I'd rather have the government do what they're talking about doing because the free market, their only aim is to make a profit. I don't want to deal with a provider who is focused on profit when my health is in jeopardy because maybe I don't have enough money to give them the profits they're looking for. So if I don't meet what they're looking for, then they don't give a damn about me. So I'd rather go with the government plan. Looking in the comments, by the way, Heath Wheeler says, why will Medicare and Medicaid not pay for a hysterectomy on women? What's the difference with that and abortion? No choice. Why won't Medicaid and Medicare why will Medicare and Medicaid not pay for a hysterectomy on women? First of all, I can't unfortunately answer that question. I've never needed a hysterectomy, never will need a hysterectomy. And I've never heard anybody say that. I've never heard anybody say they won't pay for that. If you got something going on, uterine cancer or something, what do you mean they won't pay for it? I'd have to look into more on that. I'm not a woman, so I can't speak on it. But I'm assuming if you have health issues going on, cervical cancer or something, where they need to remove those organs to potentially save your life, I would assume they would do. Why would they not do it? So I'm going to plead ignorance on that, though. I've never heard someone say that Medicaid and Medicare will not pay for hysterectomies on women. So I'd have to hear more on that. What's the difference between that and abortion? No choice. There are women who find themselves pregnant and just feel like they're not ready, so they will terminate the pregnancy. That certainly does happen. How many women just decide out of the blue, I want to have a hysterectomy? Why are you comparing abortion and hysterectomy? I don't understand that. I don't know how many women are saying, I want to have the freedom to choose a hysterectomy. I'm trying to, like I said, I appreciate the support, and I'm trying to make your question make sense to me. I don't quite get that. Why would somebody want to just have a hysterectomy? Unless there's some type of major medical illness. Now, obviously, some women are not ready to have children. They may want to have a tubal ligation, but a full hysterectomy, just for the sake of having it? I've never heard of that. Looking in the comments, but like I said, I am a man, so I'm not going to tread. I'm going to tread lightly. Tap the screen, get the likes up to 65,000. 700 of you still folks here. Tap the screen, get the likes up, let your thumbs not be lazy. Helps out the program. Brings in more MAGA. You know how the FYP is. This is a MAGA-friendly program. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Spin, Tim, spin. Terry Jeffrey, if I'm spinning, I'll concede the point. Sometimes I find myself doing a little bit of that. I'm not perfect, but damn it, on this last topic, I just admitted pure ignorance. That's not spinning. I'm not going to spin on a topic where I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't know enough about women's reproductive health in terms of the medical care that is provided to even spin on a topic. I made it clear I'm pleading ignorance. I'm treading lightly on that, but I do appreciate your input. Looking in the comments, or better, going back to the box, smash that like button on YouTube, tap the screen on TikTok. We're asking that question, should healthcare be a human right? And as Trump stated, do you believe most immigrants in this country illegally, undocumented, or even seeking asylum are straight out of some of the world's toughest jails and are here to harm Americans and cause and create mayhem? That is what President Trump has stated, that they're here to unalive. I'm trying to come up with synonyms for rape and murder, but unaliving great people. That's what I want to say. Ask Mama C. Welcome back to the program, Mama.
Darling, how are you? Good morning or afternoon, wherever y'all are. Hello.
It is afternoon here in the Midwest. So, what say you? Should healthcare be a human right?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, you're MAGA, right?
Hell no. I'm a conservative the way that you are a liberal. You aren't part of that left-wing nonsense, and I'm not a part of the right-wing nonsense, yeah?
Oh,
we both agree to that?
The right-wing nonsense exists? I never heard of that. Wow. Okay, I'm learning something.
Oh, come on. You and I both know those winged idiots on both sides have just completely polarized this country since about 2006, yeah?
But you will be voting for Trump, right?
Yeah, because Kamala scares the hell out of me with her lack of ambition, her lack of substance to policies, and the fact that proof's in the pudding. She has no knowledge on foreign issues. She has she's held office, what's today? 1,241 days in office, 900 of which she was head of the border security, and you're going to tell me that she actually did something of substance when in office? It's kind of like when you say Tim Tebow going up to the NFL was a great move. No, it wouldn't. He needed time to get his head right to be able to, be able to play at that level. That's all I'm saying.
1,200.
She's not ready to be at this level.
1,241 days. But who's counting? I've never heard somebody say that before. She's been in office for 1,241 days, huh?
Yeah, I think that's about it, because, so I think it's been something like that where she's been the VP, and, even if you don't like her, show respect to the office, right? So she's been our VP, but it's just like, she's that person where her ambition is higher than what she's clearly able to achieve, and she's just not ready, right?
Her ambition is higher than what she's able to achieve, says a woman that's voting for a guy who was going to build a wall, drain the swamp, repeal and replace Obamacare. Was his ambition not high enough for what he promised to achieve?
Absolutely. Okay. He had the people. I never thought that he should have been running for office, simply because I agreed with the fact that he didn't have the knowledge of politics, which is actually what won a lot of people over to him, right? I believe that he was a great supporter to the Conservative Party. I believe that he had a lot of great ideas that he could have backed in the right way. But the minute that he took office, especially coming off of the heels of Obama, he just became, radioactive to the country. And it's not that people don't want to vote Republican. It's just that he is that polarizing of a person that they're just like anti-Trump. Right?
So out of the other 9, there was, everybody from Nikki Haley to Vivek to Ron DeSantis to Chris Christie. Were there any of those others that you favored over Trump?
I did. I told you before that I did like Vivek for the energy that he seemed to bring, and he was just very on point. I did like Vance now that he's come off of a couple of his other talking points, and he brought the energy, and I love watching him when he gets interviewed because he always just bringing facts. He stays calm.
You just started out by saying you're similar to me on the right, where you don't really get involved in the fringes in the nonsense. But now you're talking about you support J.D. Vance. Isn't he a fringe?
I qualified that, and I said now that he's backed off on some of his points.
He didn't back off on it. He realized it was unpopular, and he don't want to admit to it. You think he don't still believe a woman should be having children? You think he just stopped believing that?
No, but I think too at the same time that it's a great thing for women to be able to build each other up no matter where you are on the aisle and to be able to have that community because all women need a village, right? Single moms, people who, have help in the home. Everybody needs to be able to reach out to their fellow woman for support and not tearing each other down.
That don't say nothing about J.D. Vance. So J.D. Vance stated that women who have children should have more say-so at the ballot box than women who don't. He hasn't said he don't believe that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that tracks a little bit just because of the fact it's not that their vote should count twice as much, and if that's what he said, that's not my belief. But it's more like when you have a child, your perspective of the world changes. You stop going from me to focusing on the future, right? So especially when it comes to in our own communities where is really all of our voices are going to be heard. A woman who has a child in school, her voice, should be heard more than, just a random in the audience, right? Because we actually are invested in this in a way that other people just aren't going to be able to comprehend.
And you're not MAGA.
No, sir. No, sir.
You're walking and talking like a duck. That's Mama C.
See, and that's the issue that I have when I come on here is because everybody ends up saying that, and a conservative view is not part of the MAGA craziness. It means I believe in a nuclear family. It means I support our troops. It means that I think states should be able to border within their own walls, but I do see the sense of having federal laws as well. I do see the sense in the states setting the limits of the scale rather than that being preached to us. I do believe in smaller government, and for those of us in our communities to be able to say, whoa, stop, hey, we deserve to be heard, rather than someone who is all the way in Congress being able to tell, a small town of 3,000 people what they should be doing. Because each and every state in this wonderful republic that we have is so uniquely amazing that someone from New York isn't going to understand all the needs of someone from Texas. Washington isn't going to be able to understand Georgia, and the white Southerners aren't going to be able to really understand what in the heck the Midwest whiteys are doing by putting raisins in potato salad. We don't understand all that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't listen. Now you mentioned now, and I understand your point. In regards to, now you said you're not MAGA, and you followed up by saying, you're in favor of the nuclear family and supporting Trump, or not supporting the troops, rather, not Trump, my handwriting, supporting troops, border protection, and smaller government. You can be in favor of all of that stuff and not be MAGA. I agree. Other than smaller government, I'm in favor of everything you mentioned as well. However, when you start making those statements such as women should kind of be in their lane, supporting the nuclear family is one thing, but giving women who have children privileges and benefits over women that don't, because you're supporting J.D. Vance, and that's exactly what he's saying. That's when you start to go into the far right.
And that's where I again qualified it, right? And I said, for me, I did not agree with everything he said. I said that a woman who is a parent to a child at their school, her voice should be heard over, just somebody random in the back. That when it comes to school board meetings, the parents are the ones being outshouted by the majority of, single people who don't really have a stake in what it is we want our kids to do. Parents' voices are being outshouted. That's the problem.
Well, I think that when it comes to banning books and talking about what kids should and should not be able to do in schools, it's when you talk about folks who do not have any kids but still trying to interfere in what the schools are doing, that's mostly coming from your side of the aisle, Mama C. In fact, Ron DeSantis himself had to limit it because it was happening so much in his state. So many folks that had no children at all were going to schools and having books banned. He had to pose a limit on how many people could do it, how many books you could ban. But you had a lot of right-wingers that had no kids at all in the school, going to the schools, trying to pick and choose in the library what should still be there or not. He had to intervene.
Right, and I agree with that because, like you just said, they didn't have children. The books that we're talking about banning, and you can look on any platform that you wish, when you see a parent And I have seen them across the scale racially, and I've seen them across the scale on, political ideals. When a parent is being told to stop reading a passage from the book because it's too graphic, well, what the hell do you think we mean when we say we don't want our children reading it for that reason? You're going to stop a school board meeting and you're going to edit me and you're going to bleep me out from telling you exactly what this book says, but yet you're okay with that being taught to our children.
I don't know, because to me, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but to me, some of this stuff about the book bans just equate to hate, in my opinion. I don't want my child knowing anything about the LGBT community or maybe some of our sins of the past. That's really, because when you start making it so that children are being forced to read the Bible, and the Bible has graphic stories in it.
I don't agree with that either, right? Because there is a separation of church and state. What I disagree with is the fact that if I have a child who is going to church and just like a child who just wants to say, hey, I'm having an anxiety issue, let me step out of the classroom. If you change the word pray to meditate, is it then okay? Because we all know we're not talking about just group prayer, right? We're talking about, teachers shouldn't be preaching values, whether it's LGBT values or whether or not it's preaching the Bible. But my child should be able to, just as much as any other kid, be able to raise their hand and say, hey, I need a minute in the hallway. Can I go do that?
That sounds great. Letting a child raise their hand and go pray in the hallway sounds great until some Muslim child raises their hand and you see him in the hallway on a towel, kneel down, and the right is going to have a problem with that. It's all good when it's a Christian, but anybody else they're going to have a problem with.
Then the people who do that are intolerant bigots, and I want no part of knowing them, do I?
Well, think about that.
If you're not gonna sit here and say what's good for the goose is good for the gander, then what the hell are you doing? You're not trying to prosper our country.
Well, I'm just simply saying I haven't heard a lot of right criticizing forced Christianity in schools, and it's happening in our face. It's not some liberal fear mongering. You got a couple states now that are beginning to force children in schools to endure Christianity, and the right is silent about it.
I don't know about a child being forced to listen to their teacher preach or espouse gospel.
How about in Oklahoma, where they're now forcibly putting the Bible as part of the curriculum? If you're a child going to public school in Oklahoma, as we speak, right now, the Bible is part of the teaching curriculum in Oklahoma. It's not a proposed law. It's not liberal fear mongering. It is the law right now.
That the Oklahoma parents chose to put in there?
No, the government did it, just like with the abortion rights. That stuff's not coming from the people.
That's my point. It's within state borders. And the governor did it based off of the majority vote of parents.
No, it wasn't. Wait, hold on. Just like with the abortion laws, the people had no say. We returned it to the states, and the states just did it. The people in them states don't want it. That's why the abortion bans keep failing anytime the people keep voting. That Christianity stuff, the people didn't decide that. Some Christian politician did.
All right, fair enough. If that's how you want to look at it, I'll go do my research and I'll message you directly on it, because Oklahoma, the only thing I know is that my niece was just born there and she's adorable. That's about all I know, is that they're in the buckle of the Bible Belt. That's all about I know. But so I mean, I'm just saying, like, if a child needs that minute and they say, hey, I need to go pray, it shouldn't be seen as hate, and it shouldn't be seen as,
What if I'm working on a job and I need that minute? Should my employer give me time off to go pray?
Absolutely, because hey, at the end of the day, it's your time. Why do you need it? Why do you need to even take time off the clock for that? Why can't you just go find a corner real quick and just say, "Hey, I'm coming to you. You see what I'm going through."
So if I'm on the floor working, if I'm on the factory floor working on a machine, and I say, "Boss, I need time off to go pray," he should just give it to me. Should I be paid for that time, or should they make me clock out?
Do you have to clock out to go take a pee?
No.
Why do you have to announce it though? You're a grown man. Why would you have to announce that that's what you're going to do? Kids don't really know that area, right?
Well, wait a minute. Of course you got to announce it, Mama. See, you're at a job or you're in school. You leave your site to go pray. You're just standing there. You're not in the bathroom. You can't just stand in the hallway in the middle of school hour or stand up somewhere in the middle of a work day. You're going to have to announce it. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing?
So say I need a break. Say I need a pee. Say I need a smoke. It happens all the time. But all I'm trying to say is that it should be equal across the board. If you're going to stop one religion, you got to stop them all. And if you're going to sit there and say, preach tolerance, it has to go towards everybody.
All right.
And that's the bottom line. And that's why I can't say that I'm MAGA, because so many people put hate towards it. And all I'm saying is, conservative values are conservative values. They're not hateful values. And that's where everything gets twisted, and why your chat keeps saying that I'm a MAGA and I'm a this and a that and the other. They're name calling us while I'm sitting up here just asking for tolerance across the board.
Okay. And last but not least, do you believe, as Trump is saying, now you're not MAGA, according to you, but do you believe, as Trump is stating, that most immigrants that are here undocumented, illegally, or seeking asylum are here to cause great murders and mayhem?
No, but I will also qualify that by saying in the past 2 years, the influx that we have had has been a systematic issue. But anybody who's been here, and came over here and did it right, and who is just working and paying into your community, do we have a problem with that? No. The problem is, being overrun and not being able to fact check people as they come in. We can't say, we have to get out of this mentality of, again, no matter where you are religiously or on the spectrum politically, we just have to get out of talking in absolutes. We really do, because we cannot sit here and you're being disingenuous and you're being dishonest if you're going to sit there and say that nobody coming across the border is wanting to do harm to us or our country.
Right. So you're saying some of them are, but it sounds like you're also saying that what Trump is saying is disingenuous as well, by alluding.
Yeah, because he should have qualified that and said not most but some. But unfortunately, the best way to root out the some is by enforcing identification laws to all, and just let us know who you are, where you're coming from, and why are you seeking asylum. Let us fact check that before we bring you into our communities. That's all we want.
All right, Mama C. Appreciate you coming on. Always a pleasure.
Have a great day, honey.
You too. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen. A lot of my viewers thought she was MAGA. By way of yes or no in the comments, by way of yes or no, do you believe my last caller was MAGA? She stated she's not. She is not MAGA, but by way of yes or no. Looking in the comments, moving on. When you get your numbers. What do you mean where you get your numbers? What numbers there? I can't pronounce the name. It's something 82. What do you mean by when I get my, what foreign policy does Trump know about? I'd have to think about that one. Not some small percent, but yeah, Trump certainly, when it comes to discussing illegal immigrants, undocumented citizens, and even asylum seekers, Trump portrays them as very, very dangerous. I don't think I've ever heard him say anything but very, very negative, disparaging comments about that group, which is why I'm asking, do you believe that they're mostly coming here to cause grapes, unalivings, and mayhem? Because anytime Trump is talking about the folks that are coming here, is generally that type of a conversation. We don't have a housing for them, or we can't afford to feed them all, or they may be overrunning some facilities in some areas. He's talking about grapes and unalivings. He's not talking about some of the small stuff. He's skipping all the way up to grapes and unalivings. You won't hear Trump talking about immigrants being here illegally without him talking about the sheer number of grapes and unalivings. So I'm asking, do you believe that most immigrants coming here illegally, undocumented, or seeking asylum are coming to kill people, coming to grape people? That's what Trump says. Look at everybody saying yes. My last caller apparently was definitely MAGA. If my audience had an opinion, I think most of you guys thought she was MAGA. Continuing with the program, tap the screen, smash that like button on YouTube. Get your boy on up to about 110 likes. We can make that happen on YouTube. On TikTok, certainly 90,000, almost 900 of you in here. She was lost. Hey, Megan, good afternoon. All right, I'm not a smart man, But every stat there is supports the fact that immigrants, legal or illegally, commit less crime than natural-born Americans. Jonathan Talley says that in the comments on YouTube. I tend to think if you came in this country, certainly if you're undocumented illegally, you want to stay under the radar. The idea that most of them coming here illegally, undocumented, don't have confirmed residency, I would tend to think they would do what Jonathan is saying. Why would you draw attention to yourself knowing that they're going to kick you out? Knowing that that's a high probability, high possibility. Knowing that, okay, let's say, for instance, in some of these areas where they lock them up and then release them without bail or whatever, they're still in the system. They still fingerprinted you. Whenever your hearing comes up for whether you're going to be allowed to stay or not, that's going to be on there. You're hurting your chances of staying permanently. Why would you do that? Why the average immigrant coming here, coming to cause mayhem, seems a bit interesting. Seems a bit challenging. Let's go back to the box. Bringing up the one and only Den Cow. Good afternoon, Den Cow. Welcome to the program. Should healthcare be Kenny, should healthcare be a human right?
Yes, it should. You should want everyone in your country to be healthy.
What about the notion that the country can't afford it?
That's just BS.
What makes you say that?
They can afford to send money to other countries to help their humanitarian. Why they can't help us? They can afford it.
Well, here's people always say that, why if you can afford to send money to Ukraine or money to Israel, you can afford to do this. Well, we get a return on that. America doesn't just willy-nilly help poor countries out. Every country we help, we're doing it as an investment. We're going to get a return on that. Helping out poor Americans, a lot of people don't believe there's no benefit to doing that.
Well, it will stop a lot of the diseases. I mean, when COVID came, you had no choice but to help every American.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to stop the spread of COVID.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of people that didn't have health care was getting help during COVID.
Yeah, but that's only because the return on that investment is if I help them out, they won't give me the virus. But if you just want to go and get a regular routine checkup, there is no reason for the wealthy to, let their tax dollars go up to help you get that because you're at no risk to them.
I get that in a way. I do believe like there should be certain standards to that if for people to get health care, like the poor people to get health care, like you got to at least be doing something to, you got, like you said, you gotta make a return on
a return on the investment. And that's the same thing with helping out the homeless and all of that. There is no return on doing that. That's why there's no stomach in America to do it. America's a capitalist country. If we spend money, we want something back for our money. And helping out poor people, you don't get nothing back.
That's true. But for the people that are working, for me, it seems that the people that are working and doing everything right, paying taxes here and there, we are the ones that are paying for it, and we should be the ones that get the discounts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just plain and simple. I mean, with the whole healthcare thing, I mean, I think they can do a little bit better. I mean, they can back on. I mean, these pharmaceutical companies and these doctors, they make billions of dollars off the sick. Some of them, I mean, there's been stories of people getting treated for cancer that hasn't even had cancer.
That's a crime. That is a crime, I believe.
That is a crime. That is a crime, but you got to figure it out first. Most people that they're treating are probably some of the poor people that don't have the means to go get a second opinion.
Well, and also it helps you test out a new drug as well. I mean, if you want like let's say for instance you come up with a new chemo drug, and you want to find out because chemo tends to kill good cells as well. And you want to find out if your new drug kills good cells, and you don't want to go through the whole FDA process first. Well, you can tell the patient they have cancer and try it out on them. As you rightfully said, they're too poor to even know the difference. So
that's true.
If they die, they die. I mean, they died due to something else, but you can certainly try it out on them.
Yeah. Yeah, that healthcare question that's a kind of hard one to crack right there, because it's. I mean, they say it's not. They don't have enough money to do it. Like you said, they're not getting no return on their investment, so they're not going to try it. But for the people that are paying and have insurance with their jobs, why are we paying these high co-pays, or we have to pay for surgeries and stuff like that, and it's just ridiculous. Like you're working all this time, you're paying your tax money, you buy, you have insurance, you're being responsible, but they don't give you a break.
So we already know when it comes to giving health care to American citizens by a right, where most of the resistance comes from in terms of political parties. Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's so many millions of people in this country that are resistant to giving Americans health care as a right?
Well, I mean, they can't make any money off of it. So they look at, and by all means, I'm not one of those conspiracy people at all, but you just have to think, like, the whole thing with for instance, the whole thing with the abortion. African Americans are not the ones who traditionally get abortions. Like, there are more white women that get abortions. So what I believe is the reason for them trying to stop abortion is so that they can get more, because I mean, African Americans have been progressively becoming the majority. We're no longer the minority.
I have not heard. I thought that was Hispanics. I don't think that's true.
Well, I mean, we're not minority. We're not the minority no more.
I don't think that. I don't think that's true, Kenny. I think we're about 13 to 15% of the population right now. We're still way down in terms of minority.
Okay, let's say that then. Well, if let's just say, do you really think the abortion ban, the abortion bans are aimed at the African Americans? No, it's aimed at the majority of folks, because they look at that as a way to potential voters.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think you had to think that. They're kind of, you're talking about replacement theory. They're actually saying it out loud. You don't have to think. They're telling you that's what they're doing it for.
Yeah, I mean, but some people think that that's like a conspiracy theory or whatever. But I mean, they're doing it right in your face. They're looking at potential voters. They're looking at, like, as Trump or all the Republicans. They're looking at as, well, if we can stop the women from getting abortions, then we can have more potential Republican voters that we can, win every election down the line for our.
Well, let me interrupt you and say Trump is not in that category. Trump is not.
Well, yeah.
Trump is doing it. Trump is simply going along to get along because that community is going to keep him in power. But that is the J.D. Vances and the far right and the evangelicals that want that. Trump on his own, I would submit to you that if Trump was left up to his own devices, you wouldn't have abortion bans with his name on it. But he's doing it because those folks are who is supporting him.
I believe Trump has paid for a number of abortions in his lifetime.
Trump was a pimp. Trump was a hoe. Trump had a lot of fun. I mean, ain't nobody had more sexual fun than Trump. He was up there with Dennis Rodman. But at the same time, I agree with you that he probably has paid for a few pregnancy terminations.
Oh yeah, he definitely has. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I see in the comments, Johnny 11 said, before I let you continue, I see in the comments, Johnny 11 says, prove it Trump was a hoe. He's hanging around Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion. He's got pictures partying with Epstein. What do you think they doing, having story time? What do you think is happening?
I mean, he was just convicted of part of the hush money thing.
Right.
I mean, that was with Stormy Daniels, and there was other models that was Trump. Like every billionaire that's in his statue wanted. That's what they were. They wanted the American dream was to be a playboy back then.
Yeah.
So
the man had fun. Look, I'm not gonna hate the player. I'm not gonna hate the game. I mean, the man had fun. It is what it is. He's an alpha male. He had fun, but having fun sometimes leads to unwanted pregnancies. That does happen.
It does.
Hell, even Stormy Daniels said he hit it raw.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So he ain't covering up.
No, he's not covering up anything. I mean, he was out there doing what he had to do to get his jollies off, and it didn't care what he got. As long as the girls was clean, he was going in that thing wrong.
Yeah.
That's just how it was back in. That's just how it was. I mean, he might still be doing it. Who knows?
Nah, he's 78. You ain't climbing on top of no shit at 78. He ain't Robert De Niro.
That's true.
He ain't Al Pacino.
No, he's not. You're right. That's true.
Yeah. Well, you never know. He might be tearing it up with Melania. She might have imprints on her ass. You never know. I gotta move it on though.
I don't think Melania is giving him anything right now. She's in it for the money right now. But hold on, wait. That's the biggest thing. Okay, they talk about immigration. Melania was an immigrant when she came over.
True.
I mean, J.D. Vance's wife is Indian, the same Indian that they Kamala, that they're saying that
J.D. Vance apparently, now this is a rumor, I'm not for certain, but I've heard that he had to apologize to some of his followers for the fact that his wife ain't white. Like they were coming after her.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
It's a rumor. It's a rumor, but I did hear that some of J.D. Vance's followers, just like with Nikki Haley when she was running, they started using her real name and everything. They started coming after her.
Yeah, the thing is, if it doesn't matter who the woman was, who the woman is that's going to run for office, they're going to always find something way to bash them. Like, I mean, say if Condoleezza Rice, she was a Republican, she was a woman with no kids, and she was an attorney general.
Yeah.
They trusted her, like, and she don't have any kids, so like, how could you say that a woman that don't have any kids can't run the world, run the United States? That is
the temperament. The temperament. A lot of folks believe that women do not have the temperament, the mindset to lead a great nation like that. I disagree, but I had somebody tell me that today, that they don't believe women, they believe that women should be nurturers and some of the stuff J.D. Vance is talking about. They don't believe a woman has the temperament to make those tough calls. I get women all the time that tell me that.
Listen, all I'm saying is, like, I heard someone say, all these men have been president for all these years, and we've found ourselves in the same shithole every presidency, every year. And we've always came out in it, we always owed money and everything else. Why don't they give a woman a chance so let's see what a woman can do. And I think that's what they're afraid of, because if a woman get in there and she shows them off, then hey, we might not see another male president for a while.
I've heard some. I gotta move it on. But somebody else said the same thing. If you get a woman in there once, you may never get a man back in there. I don't know if I believe that, but I've certainly heard that from more than just you. Kenny, I gotta go. Appreciate you coming through. Good talk. Yep. All right, moving the program on. And somebody in the comments I wanted to address, they did point out that Melania Trump came here legally, come here legally as opposed to just running in. Fair enough, but the idea that Melania Trump, quote unquote, came the legal way is kind of being disingenuous. You don't think the fact that her husband was president made any difference in her application and all of that? Because her family got in here while Trump was in office. A lot of them went from application to approval during the Trump administration. Some of her family members got approval while Trump was in office. You're going to tell me you don't think that Trump had anything to do with that? You think that they just went through the whole process, didn't benefit at all under the fact that one of our family members is married to the president of the United States? They didn't actually come the legal way either. They got a lot of benefits and privilege that probably sped up their application. I just want to say that. Trump is the best, says Sav Beats. Trump is the best. Okay, fair enough. And a lot of folks believe that. Tap the screen, 110,000. Make it happen. Feel free to show the program some love. Dencow, appreciate the underwater corral. Speaking of which, are illegal immigrants, undocumented residents, folks seeking asylum in this great nation, coming here with violent intentions, looking to harm, grape, or take the lives of Americans. Dencow, what say you?
I would say the people that believe that they don't understand the mentality of a criminal. Like, a criminal doesn't go to a specific place to do their crimes. If a person, a rapist, or somebody who's unaliving people gets released from a prison, they won't make 1,000-mile journey to get to America to start doing the same things again.
Yeah, they just traveled all the way across Mexico, but not committing any crimes along the way. I do understand your point. Real quick before we continue on, someone stated that Melania Trump said that it took her 3 years to come here legally. I don't know if that's a defense for Melania, considering how long it normally takes to get here legally. You're not going to do it in 3 years. So if she said that, she's kind of admitting privilege. It takes probably 15 to 20 years damn near to come in this country legally. If she says she did it in 3, she kind of told her hand with that. Go ahead, then, Cal.
I'm not all the way familiar with that, but from my understanding, she was granted what they call an Einstein visa, and people can go look it up. An Einstein visa is supposed to be for, the people that come into this country that are like either intellectually or financially, or it can be an entertainer. It could be somebody that's really high on the scale who would benefit the country. So now we know how Trump uses his money to skirt the system. He's told us he's done it for decades, and we know how he's done in New York. That's why we got checks from him going to Kamala while she was going for a turn. He's always used the political system to get, to justify, to get what he wants. So if that's true that she had an Einstein visa, we can get rid of this notion that somehow she did it the right way.
Yeah, I would say flat out, if you talk to any immigrant that came in this country legally and asked them how long it took, you'll find that 3 years is incredibly short versus all the other answers you get. Very few people can say, I got in this country and it only took me 3 years to do it legally. That's really, really short.
Yeah, let's just well, I can't make MAGA or anybody else, but I would say all of the people with a little bit of common sense in this life, can we all just kind of agree that she skirted the process to get here? That's like I don't even think that's a valid thing to. She came here. She was doing soft porn and stuff, and she was in the party scene. That's how she met Trump. He was already married, and they ended up having an affair. I'm not going to even entertain that. So I'd rather move off of that part. But
I understand. Healthcare is a human right. What say you?
Well, I would say that yes, I believe it should be it should be a human right, and what people are not understanding is that the vast majority of this country believe it should be. Even MAGA, even the young lady Mama C.
I don't know if I agree with you, because when Obama was trying to pass universal health care, Obamacare, the right was not in favor of that. They overwhelmingly disagreed with that. So I don't know if I agree with you.
But you're talking about the leaders of the party. If you asked people, just like you asked Mama C, and she said, yeah, it should be a civil right. If you ask a lot of the people that vote with Trump, they agree too, because they understand that that's a necessity for to have a strong country is to have a healthy country.
I got Terry Stevens on YouTube right now saying, no, healthcare is not a human right. It's socialism. That word socialism, anything that people get that they didn't actually pay 100% for, they affix the word socialism to it, and that is a demonization word. Once something is viewed as socialism, they don't support it, and that's how they viewed Obamacare, which is why I'm disagreeing with you. I don't think the average Republican voter favored universal health care.
Well, I would say they agree with some of the tenets of giving people, they agree with not allowing pre-existing conditions. They cool with insurance companies not being able to point you out and say you already sick, so we can't help you.
Well, here's the difference. The right tends to be against government oversight and regulations. And all of that stuff is exactly that. Telling healthcare providers you can't deny people with pre-existing conditions, that's government oversight. That's a regulation. They're against all of that. That's why you can charge $10 for a Tylenol at one hospital and 15 at another. There's lack of regulation. And they want the regulation not to interfere with how people do business.
Well, I think it's just sad that people have to put a label on everything the government is trying to do and automatically get to dismiss it because it falls under a certain label. This country was never designed, people was talking about, earlier in your life, people was talking about comparing like, well, Japan is like this and Japan, they have to look back at the inception of this country and what were the tenets we fell under. It was supposed to be freedom. It was supposed to be, we were taking all of these different societies and taking the parts that were good and applying them to our society so we could be different from them.
I don't buy that. I don't think they ever came here. They like I always bring up, there are three tenets we often say in this country. And I believe it's just like telling a relative at a funeral, if you need something, call me because you know they're grieving. But in reality, you don't want them to call you. You're just telling them some bullshit because it makes them feel happy. Those three things are all men are created equal, separation of church and state, and bring us your tired, your weary, your poor. They never meant that stuff. It just sounded good at the time, and it made us look like we were a great country. But when the people started coming, bring us your tired, your weary, your poor was like, hell no. When the people wanted actually to be free, all men are created equal didn't make any sense anymore. And the same with separation of church and state. When it's time to really do it, hell no. But it sounds good on paper.
I agree with you 1,000%. But the problem with that is that they wrote it down that way.
Yeah. No disagreeing with that.
That way, so don't blame me for trying to come get the best of what America said it had in store for us. Don't try to trick me now and say, nah, we were just joking.
Yeah, but they were, though. I mean, they definitely were. Because like I said, we're seeing now with Bibles in schools and shit, separation of church and state was a joke. They literally said that and then opened up the Bible and started writing laws. And like I said, every group of immigrants that have come to this country, white, black, or other, has faced a lot of resistance. They never meant that, bring us your tired, your weary, your poor. It just sounded good until people started actually showing up and they're like, oh, hell no, it's too many of y'all.
Right, and now they're twisting themselves in pretzels to go back on what they said, the founding fathers, which were supposed to be these amazing, intelligent, and brilliant people. Now they're trying to figure out a way to say they didn't say what they said.
Yeah. And that's like I said, it gives us feel good. When I used to live overseas, that was one of the things I often got hammered on is, why do Americans act like they're the only ones that are free and all? Like you guys, and then they would point out freedoms they had in their country that we didn't have. Like you guys aren't free. So, I mean, we like to say things that feel good, though.
Right. And the young lady before was talking about, well, the people should have the ability to just, stop when they want to and pray and stuff. They don't understand corporate America. They don't understand that. Look, they don't even want to give people maternity leave when they have a child. What do you mean?
When she was saying that, I wanted to bring that up because a lot of companies don't even want to give you smoke breaks now because they're like, and I don't smoke, but I know people have said, well, look, for employees that don't smoke, should they be able to go outside when that person is taking a smoke break? You're correct. The person who's an atheist is going to say, well, if you're giving them time to pray, can I go outside? At the end of the day, I agree with you 100%. Corporations are not going to want to give you 10 or 15 free paid minutes to go pray. They would push back against that like hell.
They barely want to let you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Don't take too long coming back. Yeah. It's a problem. It's going on your record. You got 3 strikes. We'll get you up out of here because it's somebody else waiting to take your job because, there is no union to protect you down south. So you're just out of luck.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Corporations are not going to be in favor of giving folks time to pray paid. They may do it you may have some Christian CEOs willing to do it if they believe all their employees are Christian. But once some dude show up with a turban and he start walking out in the hallway with a towel, that policy going to change. What the fuck? When did we hire you? I need to go talk to HR. What the fuck is this? So, yeah, it sounds good until people start using it.
Right, and this the last thing I wanted to say was about Trump when he was young and he was dealing with not trying to go to the war and all of that stuff. And he said, and for the guy who was talking, the people that was talking about how do we know he paid for an abortion or not? Look, the man said back then, he said his own private Vietnam was trying to get through the war without catching the STD.
Wow.
He was out there slanging and banging all over the country. And unless he was shooting pure blanks, there are possibly some former fetuses that he got rid of.
Yeah. Well, shout out for Trump. They haven't come forward and admitted it, so I give them benefit of the doubt. I mean, they may have NDAs. They may have NDAs like Stormy Daniels realized. Once they pay you to shut your mouth, you keep your ass quiet because she now owed Trump's like $500,000.
He probably had an on-call doctor who was flying all around the country.
Ooh, that would make him really look bad. If he had a Michael Jackson-like doctor that would show up and give a woman a pregnancy termination at the crib, that would be awful. But of course, do you think MAGA would hold him accountable for that?
No, they would say that happened in the past. He changed his views, and nothing. It's AI.
You're taking those pregnancies out of context. I got to move it on, Dinkow. Good talk. All right, moving the program on. By the way, sir, folks, and real quick in the comments, I wanted to point out a comment Mark made. He said, "We are all dumber for listening to this program." Mark, I do appreciate your participation in the comments. As always, if you're hearing comments you don't favor on this program, I would hate to lose you as a listener, but I have to encourage you to swipe otherwise. This is free speech. You're going to hear things that you don't like. No matter what side of the aisle it's on, you're going to hear comments you think are dumb as hell. That's how free speech works. If you prefer an echo chamber where everyone is speaking in a manner that you agree with and enjoy, this is probably not going to be it. I mean, just like I read your comment, which is 100% critical of me, some folks are going to say things that are 100% against what you believe in. That's how free speech works. You probably are not necessarily a fan of free speech, so there's not much I can do, but I do appreciate you here while you are. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 120,000. I'm asking for a bit much today. I get it. I'm trying to get a little support for the program. Helps out the algorithm. Brings it more MAGA. We are MAGA friendly. I got to get some more folks on the right. I'm having a heavy left audience. I'm trying to bring some folks up from the right, but my audience on TikTok. And by the way, folks, let me just say this real quick. I do have a Rumble account. I know a lot of MAGA are on Rumble, so I deliberately went to that platform because I think I can take folks live. We're going to start doing Rumble soon, but I need a certain amount of subscribers before I can go live. So I'm asking you folks to, if you will, go, if you have a Rumble account, follow The Handsome Liberal, same damn name, on Rumble. We're going to try to make that happen. So I'm asking you folks to subscribe on there. People are pro-birth, not pro-life. True. I agree with that, 100% true, because pro-birth means you want that child to be given birth to. Pro-life means you might want to help feed that child. You might want to help get that child health care, maybe some diapers and wipes every now and then. And a lot of America don't give a damn about the kid once it's born. So I agree with you. They are pro-birth. They are not pro-life. My cousins had over $300,000 in school loans paid by Joe Biden, and they could afford it, said Simone. Well, I'm sure your cousins is probably still voting left. 300,000. Wow, that's a lot. I do love your show, but we are dumber for listening to this conversation. Mark, fuck out of here. Appreciate you. Trump fight, Trump fight, Trump fight, Trump fight. Says Signum, that says circus, something like that. They want to sell more children. What? What the hell? They want to sell more children? I don't quite get that. Let me go back to the box. Thank you folks that are tapping the screen. 120, make that happen. Everyone needs to go back to where they were born. Vote Trump. That is a far, far right opinion, Sid. By the way, before I go to the next caller, that's what they're doing in Europe right now. You always hear about AOC, the squad, and all of alter ego. Wow. Thank you, alter ego. Showing some love for the program. Alter ego, man. I cannot thank you enough for those subs. Thank you, Alter Ego. You hear about the LCs, the Elizabeth Warrens, the Squad, and all these folks far left, as Trump might say, far left lunatics. Kamala Harris, they're calling her far left as well. You don't hear about the far right that much. Certainly if you are on the right and you tune in to right-wing media, Fox, OAN, Newsmax, Breitbart, you tune in to Steve Bannon's program, they don't ever use the term far right, but that does exist. And the far right is anti-immigrant. Now, I know some folk will come legally. No, the far right is anti-immigrant. What's going on in Europe right now is a perfect example where they got it. Most first world countries have illegal immigration problems and immigration problems. And they're having a problem like that in Europe right now, over in the UK. And just like in America, when you start having a problem with these people, you start looking for negative things they do. Bad things they do, as Trump is saying, rapists and unalivers. Well, someone used a knife and took some lives over there. And the far right believes it was an immigrant. The police say it's a natural born citizen that was of, I don't know what foreign country, but the person was kind of like Kamala Harris, where the parents were born somewhere else, but the person who did the crime was born in the country. The far right is trying to say the person is an immigrant, and they're going around bestowing violence on lots of immigrants. There was a hotel full of asylum seekers, similar to what you're seeing in Chicago and New York, where they're giving them hotels and places to stay. They tried to set it on fire to kill all of the people in there. That's far right. You don't hear about the far right that much, but there are plenty of folks in this country that could happen here, by the way. Don't ever think that could not happen here. If you believe that these people are coming here to grape and unalive people, who gives a damn if a rapist or a murderer faces justice? Once you can convince the people that these folks are here to harm us all, they're invaders, they're poisoning the blood of this country, they're all vermin, who gives a damn if something happens to them? This is how you get lives taken. With language like that, words do matter. For you folks who may know a little bit about World War II, Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass in Germany, where they literally went around the country smashing, setting fire to Jewish businesses, raping and unaliving Jewish citizens. That could easily happen here. And I've stated before, the magic bullet to guarantee Trump likely has a victory or civil unrest take place is a undocumented illegal immigrant committing a mass casualty event. Let's say, for instance, the guy who tried to take Trump out recently, if he had been a undocumented illegal immigrant, that type of stuff that's happening in Europe could easily happen here. All it takes is for one of them to commit a major crime like that, and you could easily have that happen here. Hopefully it doesn't. Let me go back to the box. Appreciate you folks that have been holding on. Going straight to Jesus Runs Deep. That's an interesting name. Good afternoon, Jesus. Long time since I talked to Jesus. Now, is it Jesus or is it Jesus?
It's Jesus. How you doing?
Hey, should I take a moment to pray?
Long time listener, first time caller. I've been listening to you for a while, my brother. I really like your show. I like the way you keep it balanced.
Right. As long as I'm pleasing Jesus, then I'm doing something right. So I can't hate on that. So what would Jesus do in regards to all these immigrants coming in this country seeking asylum?
Look, I would welcome them in. We are a nation of immigrants. We're good at it. Bring them on. I say, make it organized, get everybody vetted. I mean, I understand people shouldn't be running across the border willy-nilly. I mean, they do need to go through the ports of entry. And, so a little bit of, cleanup, yes, is necessary. A little bit more organization, some more judges, border control we need drone. Apparently the Canadian border is very well maintained, as well as many other countries have well maintained borders. We need to learn from some of our neighbors, some of our contemporaries, learn how to manage a border with newer technologies instead of, just having people or a fence. There's other ways to man a border, and we can learn from other places.
That's a good point. Now, Jesus, I've seen a lot of pictures of you with your hand on Trump's shoulder. Is it safe to say that you believe Trump is our next commander-in-chief? He's the one that should be doing the job?
No way. That wasn't me.
But but Jesus, wait a minute. Jesus, he's selling your book for Christ's sake. For only $59.99, I can get your teachings in a book.
Look, he ain't give me a cut out of one of them.
I can't believe you got to give a cut to Jesus. Okay.
I want my 20%. He got a tithe.
Oh, I did not know that. Well, at the end, so you're leaning left then.
I'm all the way bent down on the left.
Damn, really? What's so special about Kamala?
What's so special about her is she's a black woman, and I've been dealing with black women all my life. They ain't been proven wrong yet. They got a right path going. I trust black women. So that's one.
So if you give before you go to number two, I'm gonna let you continue, but before you go to number two, based on what you said there, she's a black woman. We know if a voter said, I'm going to vote for Trump, first of all, he's a white man, and I've never went wrong with white men. We know how the minority community would react to that. So how do you respond to someone saying that one of the reasons you're voting for Kamala is because she's black, that you're a racist? How would you respond to that, Jesus?
Hey, let it be what it may. I know there are people on the Trump side that are voting for him just because he is a white man. So call me the counterbalance. I think that we need to have variety in our leadership. I think we need that female energy at the top that we've never had before. Maybe we won't get involved in all these wars and disagreements. Maybe we can have a more cooperative mindset. Maybe not stop being so competitive in the world. Maybe sometimes it's about cooperation, and women are different than men. Yeah. So maybe we need a little bit of that. So I'm voting for change, something new.
Now I'm hearing rumors that Kamala locked up a lot of black men who didn't deserve it. What say you?
Well, people always get locked up if they don't deserve it. That's up to the police, the DAs. That's all over. Police problems, legal justice issues, they happen. I'm sure she did lock up some people that didn't deserve it, but she's a DA. They all do that. I don't fault her for doing her job. I'm sure she didn't do it on purpose, but she seems to be.
She gets criticized, and you respond by saying they all do that. You're sounding a lot like MAGA.
Hey, I guess so. I'm countering their points.
They all do that.
I don't care. We're gonna vote. If they standing 10 toes down with Trump, as bad as he is, Kamala can do a little bit of dirt, and she's still all right with me.
All right. Now, in the comments, the minute you started talking about the benefits of having a female, I got two folks back to back. William Lovelace and Simone said women are too emotional. How do you respond to folks who might suggest that women do not have a temperament to be commander-in-chief? You got to be fucking kidding me. The live access went down on TikTok. I really hate the censorship. Somebody likely was bitching about the live on TikTok, so I'll have to appeal that. For my YouTubers, the TikTok live just went down. I'm going to appeal. What did they even say? Let me see if I can figure out. Hang on a second. Give me a second for you folks on YouTube. A black Trumper says CTS. There's a lot of black Trumpers out there. Give me a moment. What did they put in there? Violation reason. Misinformation. Well, somebody was reporting the live. Excuse me. TikTok is like that, where they will err on the side of caution.
Care instructions for my guest.
Bear with me. My device is bringing up everything from YouTube stuff to another stuff. So I'll go ahead and put in the appeal. A lot of times we get the appeal and we're back on in 5 minutes or so, because sometimes it is people that are just hating on the program, and they just, and sometimes TikTok will err on the side of caution as opposed to even investigating. I say 95% of my appeals go through. Also, real quick too, I will say this. We have a backup account for you folks that may come here from TikTok. We run by the moniker, the handsome liberal. Well, if you take the L off the final L, so it says the handsome libera, that is the backup page. So anytime they take us down, we generally go there and operate for a few days and then go back. So that if for some reason the appeal doesn't go through, that's where it will be. Until then, we can easily have a little bit of enjoyment by entertaining some of these comments on YouTube. We're all the same thing in different shapes. I like that. Free speech on Tim channel. I like that too, Renee. Thank you. Women are super emotional all the time, says Joseph. You know, it's interesting you would say that women are super emotional all the time, considering the fact that all of the killing and violence due to emotion in this country generally is at the hands of men. You don't see too many. How many times have you seen two chicks get out of the car during a road rage incident and beat the hell out of each other? How many atrocities throughout history, such as going and setting an entire village on fire or raping all of the inhabitants of a village, was perpetrated by women? Have you ever seen that? Somebody said in the comments, you see two women during a road rage incident getting out of the car and beating each other up all the time. And you do see that. I gotta disagree with that. But the idea that women are emotional when overwhelmingly most of the violence is perpetrated by men is kind of comical. I would submit to you that if women were, and I'm not trying to come across as a simp or just say women are better leaders than men. I think all genders, both genders, I mean, I get crazy, but both genders, I believe both genders should be given a chance. However, I will say this. I don't think a female leader would be as favorable to some of the historical sins of this country, like slavery, oppression, not letting women vote. I don't think women in power would be trying to take away the man's right to vote. Men in power have been very dominant. So the idea that women are emotional and women are the perfect ones, and women have done some pretty bad shit. Men in leadership have done some really bad shit that I don't think women would have done. So maybe women are emotional, but men are reactive. Men actually do things that are really, getting up there out of your emotion and starting to cry or maybe going off on somebody is one thing. But sending people to death, having people beheaded and in jail, that's coming by way of men throughout history. That's mostly men that actually carry out awful things upon their subjects and citizens. So I don't know if I agree with that. Have you ever watched Game of Thrones? No, I have not, but I'm aware of the program. Emotional intelligence is the ability to manage both your own emotions and understand the emotions of people around you. There are a lot of positions of leadership on this planet that women do just fine. By the way, there are several countries that have had or have currently in place a female leader. Margaret Thatcher in the UK, back during the 80s, she did a good job as Prime Minister of England. She's one of the best they've had. In addition to Margaret Thatcher, you had, I'd say Gretchen Whitmer, not Gretchen Whitmer. What is it? Angela Merkel of Germany. She's another one that did a fairly good job. Mexico currently has a female leader. New Zealand has a female leader. By the way, the leader of New Zealand recently banned guns after a mass casualty event. And they're doing just fine. So the idea that women don't have a temperament for the position. By the way, the appeal on TikTok was won. It was victorious. So we'll start the TikTok live again momentarily while I'm talking to you folks on YouTube. Thatcher was a conservative. That's why she worked. All right, but she was a woman. Okay, if you favor her for being a conservative, so be it. But she was a woman, and she got the job done. Real quick, I had a couple of super chats. Ed G says, Musk said it best, free speech is meaningless unless you allow people you don't like to say things you don't like. True. And I will tell you this, Ed G. Ed G always, you show the program, so it says, I will discuss your other super chat shortly, but I agree with that. Free speech is meaningless unless you allow people you don't like to say things you don't like, which is how we run this program here. But I do believe, and I say it all the time, everybody claims to be for free speech until somebody says some shit that they don't like. Now, the left cancels folks all the time. You hear the folks on the right talk about cancel culture all of the time. But what the right doesn't want to tell you is they're favoring cancel culture too. Recently, none other than Kyle Rittenhouse, which the right is huge fans of, for taking out, 2 or 3 Black Lives Matter protesters. I think he took the lives of 2, shot another one. The right is big fans of Kyle Rittenhouse. MAGA loves Kyle Rittenhouse until he recently said he wasn't voting for Trump. Kyle Rittenhouse, who has far more subscribers than I do, lost 50,000 of them in one day because he said Trump is not pro-Second Amendment, and he was going to write in, I think, Rand Paul or something like that. Said he was not going to vote for Trump. He was going to write in Rand Paul. MAGA went fucking nuts. So don't ever believe that MAGA doesn't get involved in cancel culture as well. There's a lot of folks that MAGA got pissed off with and exercise cancel culture too. It happens everywhere. And that's his free speech. Why can't that man decide who he wants to vote for? MAGA tore into him hard. 50,000 followers he lost in one day. Kyle Rittenhouse, 50,000. I'm actually working on a video with him. He's on video, by the way, saying it. He's on video saying that Trump is not, he can't, in good conscience support Trump because Trump is not in favor of the Second Amendment. And by the way, that could probably be its own live stream in itself, how Trump gets a pass on it. The right is overwhelmingly in favor of your Second Amendment rights. I get it. But Trump has a significant history of threatening the Second Amendment. If you believe that the Second Amendment shall not be infringed upon, and you're giving Trump a pass. I mean, he's done a lot of things. I mean, talked about, taking away guns first and giving them due process later. He's talked about high, magazine capacity bans, talked about fighting with the NRA. He banned bump stocks. I mean, Trump has a significant, compared to Obama, compared to Hillary Clinton, compared to Joe Biden, Trump has infringed on the Second Amendment, or at least threatened to do it, more than all of them combined. Yet the right is fans of Trump, and they believe Trump has their Second Amendment protections in place more than the left. Trump is really, really threatening to infringe on the Second Amendment over and over again. I mean, he's on video doing it, so I don't know if I agree with that. Looking in the comments, oh, by the way, I heard the NRA not even supporting the clown anymore. I don't believe that. You're telling me you heard that the NRA is no longer supporting Trump? I don't know. I think they're still going to they're going to roll with him, but Trump is infringed or threatened to infringe on the Second Amendment a lot. And like I said, it's on video. Fight with the NRA. You should not be afraid of fighting with the NRA. You don't need a 30-round magazine. I think he said that on video. Talked about taking away guns in case of mental health. Take away the gun first, then give them due process because it takes too long. He said that. As we know, he actually did ban bump stocks. He did that. I mean, a lot of stuff. Biden didn't do all of that. Obama didn't do all of that. Kamala Harris is not even talking about doing all of that. But those are the folks that people were saying are going to take away your Second Amendment rights. So make it make sense. Before I go back to the box, because we are back up on TikTok, Dems taking you down for something you said sounds about right. Yeah, I get it. It does happen, Edgy. It does happen. A lot of Dems don't favor the program because they think just talking to MAGA makes me an Uncle Tom, an Uncle Ruckus, a sellout. I get it all the time. A lot of folks see an African American and they see a red hat in the background, and that's all they need to see. I've had folks come back to me later and say, look, I apologize because I judged you wrong. I mean, after listening to your program, you're a totally different person than I thought. They made all of their decision based on a 2-second glance. I see a black man, I see a red hat. I hate that motherfucker. That was enough. But TikTok, shout out to TikTok or maybe even YouTube, kept sitting in my life. And maybe they caught a good 10 seconds of it and realized the error of their ways. So shout out to TikTok. And I see in the comments, Darcy Green says, yep, me too. Yeah. And I see a few people are saying it. I don't see what the other guy, Q says, I did it at first. LOL, I had to tune in. Yeah, I get it all the time, man. I can't even tell you. I've been on here about, 3 years now? I probably have had at least 1,000 Uncle Toms, Uncle Ruckus sellouts in the comments. I'll go to the box, continuing on with the program. User Dennis. Good afternoon, Dennis. Welcome to the program. Hey, big man, Josh. Good afternoon to you.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Not much at all. Should healthcare be a human right? That's what we're asking today.
Healthcare and human rights. Well, I don't know. Our health care is pretty expensive, but I think if we quit spending a lot of money to other countries and stuff, we could afford health care for all Americans. I just don't like the talk coming out of Kamala and Waltz about giving it to illegal aliens and everybody else. I mean, it's like we're going to have a hard enough time just taking care of ourselves. I believe in taking care of us first, and what we have left over, then let's help people. That's the way I think about it.
Okay, so at the end of the day, if it's a citizen that was born in this country, or that somebody came to this country legally and they now have residence, should they have government provided health care where they don't have to pay anything out of pocket?
If everybody else is getting it, if we've implemented free health care, which we haven't for everybody, but if we've implemented that like Great Britain and Canada, if we've done that, then under what the guidelines you just said, yeah, I would say they would qualify for it too. But, you know, I have a real problem with the border and how we're doing that. But
yeah, that's why I phrased it where we take. I understand you don't want illegals getting it. Let's take them out of the picture because you keep going back to illegals. Let's say regular citizens that were born on our soil, born here, or folks who came legally and now have residency. Should they now be insured healthcare wise with no payment coming out of their pocket?
They should get the same thing that every other American is getting.
But they don't get it. Most Americans do not get universal health care.
Okay, I thought you were saying that if Kamala and Waltz were able to implement the universal health care they're talking about, that's what I thought you were talking about. But as far as them getting it, no, I don't think they should get anything that Americans don't get. That's my opinion. So
we say they shouldn't get anything that Americans don't get. Who is they? We're only talking about Americans. The whole conversation is about Americans. So we say they shouldn't get what America. There is nobody else in our conversation. We're only talking about Americans.
Okay. They should not get what the average American is not getting. You're saying they're born on American soil, they're Americans. Fine. But the average American ain't getting that. So no, they shouldn't be put ahead of line just because they're now legally an American and their mom and dad was Latino and he's born here. He should get the same thing that everybody else is getting. He shouldn't be bumped ahead of the line just because of his nationality.
Okay, you are really focused on immigrants. I can see it. Do you believe Americans should, no one else, because you said they shouldn't get what Americans don't get. So let's talk about Americans. Should Americans from birth receive health care?
I think we should implement health care for all Americans. I do believe that.
Okay. So why do you believe the right is against that?
Well, I don't necessarily believe they're against it. I think what I've seen from her platform and from what Waltz is talking about, they want to give it to everybody. If you walk across the border, boom, hey, here's your health care. You know, they haven't even set before a judge. Their case hasn't been adjudicated. That's what I don't like, because right now Medicare is a pretty big bill. Once we give it to all Americans, it's going to be even bigger. If we had undocumented illegals and all that, then it'd be unaffordable and nobody would have it.
Okay, now I don't know if I've heard it the way you're saying, but let's take it the way you said it. They walk across the border, boom, here's your free health care. Now, clearly you don't want that, but let me give you an example, and I'll get your opinion on it, as always, uncensored, unbanned. You can say how you feel. Let's say an immigrant comes to this country seeking asylum, and they let them in, which is what they're doing now, and they have a case that is pending. So in 7-8 months or a year, you come before a judge, and we'll decide if you can stay. But during that time they're here, they get hit by a bus. So they're not here legally at that point. They're here legally, but they're undocumented. They have no right to stay. That person has gotten hit by a bus in Cincinnati. Do you believe our healthcare system should treat them?
No, but we should give them a free bus ticket to wherever they just came from.
So you're going to pick up this person, literally, as the song say, pick up the pieces. You're going to throw that into a plane and go drop off a mangled person back in their home country.
Just trying to help them out. I'm not trying to be heartless, but you
ain't trying to be what?
You're painting me in a box is what you're trying to do, and you know how I feel about it.
Wait a minute, user. There's a lot of people that are in this country that are waiting to see if they can stay or whatever. People do get injured. That does happen. And I'm asking you, while they're here until their court case is being determined, should they have access to the healthcare system?
Well, they've already got it on an emergency basis. Hospitals can't turn anybody away and have to stabilize them right now. Some people are arguing, since we're already doing that, it would be cheaper just to go ahead and give them health care. That's Walsh's opinion, that we're already spending the money, and emergency health care is even more expensive than putting them in a regimen of regular medical checkups and health care. So I don't know. I really don't. I don't want anyone to have anything that me, you, and every other American walking around doesn't have. That's my gut instinct and how I feel about it.
Yeah, but this could possibly mean people dying. Okay, yeah, they're not here legally, but your decision could lead to people dying.
It does, and it really does, and it happens, and there's life and death situations that are happening all the time, and it's a cruel war. We have people starving to death in Africa. We have a lot of tragedies, but America, charity begins at home. We have to be able to take care of ourselves. When we collapse, everybody's going to, be in real hard shape. And I just want us to deal with our people, our American citizens first. And then everybody else, we try to give surplus out of love. But you're asking me, it makes me think about that question the woman asked him. She said, if I was blind, would you still love me? And he goes, yeah. And if I was blind and crippled and disfigured in a fire, would you love me? He goes, well, we could be friends. But that's how I am on the health care. Let's just keep it to American citizens, and I hope we can get it, but giving too much money away, I don't know how we're going to be able to afford it when we're fighting wars all over the freaking world and everything going on, and our deficit is $35 trillion. The second biggest expense we have is the freaking interest on our damn debt. That's the second largest expense.
I hear what you're saying, user, but for me personally, when it's somebody's health on the line, money shouldn't be in the conversation. Now, because now we're talking about choosing who gets to live and who gets to die because we can save money off of it. I mean, you're talking about one of the reasons why we don't want to give people what could amount to life-saving care is because, it costs too much.
I guess I'm hardened because I've been down that road. I had a business, and I was in business for myself, and I'd been in it about a year, and I got cancer, and I basically lost everything I had because I didn't get health care right off the bat. I had things lined out, and I basically lost everything I had. Had to sell things and convert stuff until I finally got so freaking poor that I started qualifying for stuff. Once I got poor, I started qualifying, but so I guess I'm hardened and jaded because I got screwed over, and I think, hey, I toughed it out. So
you're a conservative, right?
Yeah, I'm a conservative.
You do realize all of the problems you're talking about would probably not happen if the liberals had their way. You would have never went through that.
Yeah, I don't buy that because I think liberals are going to give us Venezuela. I think we're going to get a socialist country, which is a stepping stone for communism, and then you're fricked and you can't. It comes in sweet talking like Chavez and all those guys, and they come in sweet talking, promising you the moon, and the next thing you know, they done took your weapons away. You can't defend yourself. Inflation 700%, and people are fleeing Venezuela coming here. So I don't believe that shit. I don't believe it.
Okay. Well, you do realize there's a whole lot of countries that you could have been living in that provides universal health care that are not living like Venezuela. You wouldn't have had those problems probably in most other first world countries because a lot of folks believe that the minute you do something for the people, they're going to go all the way to the worst. Because when Obama was in office, it was socialist Greece. Greece has repaired their economy now. So now they're using Venezuela, and if Venezuela ever repairs their economy, they'll pick another country. But there's a lot of countries that provide socialist tenets to the people that are not bankrupt or living like Venezuela.
And they're doing it on the back, and they're doing it on the backs of somebody else. Germany, Italy, Those European countries would not even be surviving if it wasn't for them stealing the resources of Africa. And they've even written papers on it and agreed to it themselves. They rob the resources of the continent of Africa, completely stealing their stuff, and it supplements their income, their GNP as a nation. They would not even be surviving if it wasn't for being thieves. And do they give a frick how the people in Africa are doing? They don't even want to send troops when these
you do realize
have war.
You're pointing out that Italy and some of these countries would not be around if they didn't steal the resources of people in Africa. You do realize you're an American, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you think we got to be the? How do you think we got where we are?
We worked hard. We worked hard, and we lovingly moved the freaking Indians down the road. I mean, we did a dark day on the Indians. We can't deny it, but they're not freaking bad.
Wait a minute. Let me make sure I heard you right. You said we worked hard. Wait. You said we worked hard and we lovingly moved the Indians down the road. Is that
we broke most of the treaties we ever made with them, and it was a disgrace and a blemish on our country, and it's part of our history. But the thing is, that's history. I'm talking about today, tomorrow, last week, last month, last year. Germany, all those European countries are only floating because right now they are stealing the resources of Africa. I saw this guy that's a European from Germany. They just shut him down in their parliament over there because he was talking about it. They don't want to talk about that. You know, they make reparations to the Jewish people for, I don't know how many millions of dollars it was for the Holocaust of Germany, but they want to talk about what's going on in Africa because it's going on right now.
But to me, user, you sound like a Christian that got saved, and now you're going to go and talk about the sins of somebody you used to hang out with at the club on every Saturday night because they ain't got saved yet. The only difference is, but you're mentioning the Italians and all of them using the exploits of Africa. The only difference between them and us is we did it earlier than them. I mean, that's literally the only difference.
That's the history of the world, though. Do you think that, where did all the other countries and nations come from? Even America had the Indian nations fighting. The only one was the Sioux, the Sioux were the only ones that maintained strength and didn't change, but they were coming and going left and right. Like every nation has a country that's stronger. Our whole world history is based on one kingdom, one nation rising and another falling. So, I mean,
I don't disagree with any of that. I don't disagree with it. The only issue I have, though, is we are literally calling a kettle black because they're doing it now and we got away with doing it earlier. But they are doing what we did earlier. I don't think we have the right to criticize them simply because they're doing it in this era and we did it in the last era. They're doing the same thing we did.
But look, going by that ideology, Mustache Man decided when he wanted to invade all these other countries, he actually looked at what Andrew Jackson did and how America took this land from an indigenous people and got that idea from us.
Right.
Except he did it too late in history for it to be accepted. So, you know, you can't, you got to draw a line in history somewhere. Right? Like, we are where we are by the grace of God, and there's a line. I don't know how else we can do it. If you got a better way, tell me.
All right. I don't think God would have favored what we did, but I get your point. I got to move it on, user Dennis. Good. This our first time talking?
I don't know, and I don't think you would have approved either, buddy. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Dennis, thank you. All right, moving on with the program. And by the way, that's what he say, folks. When we say we believe in free speech, we go left to Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. That's what we mean. Everybody gets to speak. Ace Ventura. What we need to do is ban schools in Lumen. What is Lumen? Why would you want to ban schools? Now, there is a proposal by Trump to get rid of the Department of Education. Does that mean banning schools? We can talk about that. I don't know what it means, but everything about the Department of Education is not bad. I know Trump is not a big fan of government oversight. He often talks about getting rid of three-letter organizations, FDA, CDC, FBI. Everything those organizations is doing is not bad. So if you get rid of those organizations, what about the good they used to do? What would America be like if we had no EPA or no FDA? because Trump has talked about doing that. I don't know where that's going to go. Trump doesn't know what he is saying, says Josh. Maybe, but he is saying it. Jova R, the problem nowadays is that people don't fucking think, they just follow. They don't even search or try to understand and make a decision after all intuition. The problem nowadays, you think that's only happening? That's always happened. That's always happened. Look at the low quality of care in Canada and the UK with free health care for all. The quality of care always goes down and wait times go up. We need regulations lowering the cost, not free health care. You're not going to get either from the right. The right, okay, you're saying we don't need free health care, but we need less regulation. Well, the right is not a fan of that either. The right is not a fan. Now, you said we need regulation. The right is not a fan of regulations. When you start dictating what a hospital can charge, they're going to have a problem with that. They're going to say you're stifling business. Business, you shouldn't be able to dictate. You shouldn't be able to dictate what a business can do. That's what the right tends to believe. So you're saying we don't need free healthcare, we need regulations. They're not going to be a fan of that either. Not to mention with them getting rid of some of the organizations that would impose those regulations, you're definitely not going to get it. All of the organizations that would likely impose regulations on hospitals and medical facilities, he wants to get rid of them too. So you're not going to get that. But I do believe you need universal health care. Now, understand, before I go back to the box, I understand the notion that people from Canada come here, or some folks say there's going to be long wait times and death panels and things like that if you had universal health care. But the fact is, if you don't have a job in America, you may not have health care at all. Certainly with preventative care. Yeah, if you get your leg broke or you get hit by a bus, the hospital has to treat you. That's emergency care. But what about preventative care? Let's say you feel a lump. Let's say you just want to know what your cholesterol is. If you don't have health care, you don't get that. You don't get preventative care. It's stuff that could prevent emergencies from happening. You don't get that stuff in America if you don't have health care. You need to be in dire straits before they finally start treating you. So coming from Canada to America, or the UK, suggesting that their systems suck and they're only coming here. Yes, the people with money. The poor people ain't coming to America for health care. And I will tell you this, they can vote in Canada. They can vote in the UK. You've heard of Brexit, where they got away from the European Union, which was controversial. They voted to do that. Notice they're not voting to implement the U.S. healthcare system in any of these countries. They're not voting for that. Some of them are coming here, but they realize our system is not better. They're not voting and saying, let's get rid of the universal healthcare we have. Let's adopt a system like America, where you only get healthcare if you have a job. You don't hear Canadians talking about doing that. You don't hear the folks in the UK saying, let's just completely get rid of universal health care and make it so you can only have health care if you have a job. No one in Canada is trying to do that. So the idea that their system sucks and ours is better, why aren't they trying to vote in the American system? They could do that. They actually vote there. And they don't want it. They don't want it. Look at in the comments. Yeah, if you don't work, tough shit. My money is mine, not theirs. Yeah, that's kind of what we do in America. That's kind of what we do in America. But yeah, you don't hear people in Canada saying, I want to get rid of universal health care. Let's make it so you're only covered if you got a job. And your employer, you have to hope, gives you health care. And your health care will vary from job to job. You may leave one job where everything you were dealing with was covered and go to another job where none of it is. It's literally playing mix and match everywhere you go. We want that system in Canada. The UK would like that system. I guarantee you they don't want that shit. I guarantee you you'll never see them voting for that. Yeah, if you got a bunch of money and you live in the UK or Canada, yeah, you might go to America because they got some better doctors. But the average working Canadian, the average working British or Scottish or Irish, they don't want that system. Where if I lose my job, I'm suddenly not covered and I don't have any assurity that the next employer I go to will cover what I need? It's literally just playing Russian roulette between jobs. They don't want that. Let me go back to the box. That is why America is so great, says Mark. Takesha Bowie. Funny, Mark. Funny. Good afternoon, Takesha. Thank you for holding.
Oh, sweetie, how are you?
Hey, hanging around like a black man at a Klan meeting. So, what do you think? Do you believe that the U.S. has the right system in terms of health care?
No, I think we should have universal health care. It really would cut down on fetal mortality rate in the black community.
Wait.
If black people were afforded health care, they could go to their appointments and get the right medicine, and have their child seen about it. It would cut down on all of that mortality rate in the black community.
Well, then, let me ask you, if you gave us universal health care, I don't even know what the name is in the comments saying, who is going to force all these doctors to work for free? If you gave the citizens universal health care, do we now have a system where the doctors don't get paid?
I've never heard of that before in my life.
I haven't either.
I've never heard of Handsome. I've never heard of that before in all my life.
I've heard of it being raised, but I've never heard of it in reality because you don't pay for the police services, yet they're not working for free. You don't pay for the fire department, yet they're not working for free. So I don't get that.
Correct. It still come from tax money.
Yeah.
The people are still gonna get paid. It doesn't just because you give free health care doesn't mean doctors are not gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Cut that out. But that's what I wanted to say, Handsome, my friend.
Sure.
The last guest, I believe he got immigrant derangement syndrome. He just don't like them. I said he got to be one of those people that put on his sealsucker suit and put on his bow tie and sit on the front row of the church, throw his hands up and say, "Yes, Jesus." And all the whole while, he ain't opened that Bible up and looked at all them scriptures that say, welcome, take care of, and see about the immigrants.
I will just say I could not get him to divert his mind away from illegal immigrants. That not said, that guy wanted to
immigrants. When I tell you, I started to say, you must have been with an immigrant woman that hurt your feelings because you can't get the immigrants off your man.
Well, there's a lot of folks who believe that when they come here, they get everything. Folks believe they get housing, get a free car, maybe a mansion.
They don't. It only takes Google search to find out what the immigrants get when they come over. And I think if people take the time to read instead of just running off what they hear, they'll find out that a lot of stuff they believe is not true.
Yeah. So let me ask you then, you heard what my last caller said. Do you believe somebody is in this country, somebody who is in this country that does not have citizenship, maybe even here illegally, should they receive health care? If something happens to them, should we treat them? Or as my last caller said, put them in an airplane and send their broke ass back to where they came from and let them deal with the injuries.
I believe you take care of whoever's here. I don't care if you document or not. Why would you let a person lose their life or have a broken leg and you can do something to me and then you don't? That's called having empathy for your fellow man. It doesn't matter who that person is. That's just like how it was back in the day when they didn't care about us. You know what I'm saying? They didn't care nothing about us being lynched or us being mistreated, our houses being burned or anything like that. They didn't care if our water fountains had hot water, long as theirs had cold. And that's the mentality that people have when it comes to immigrants.
Wow.
They don't care.
Why do you think folks are like that?
Because they've been fed so much negative things about the immigrants that they don't like them, just like they did with us. They were fed so much stuff about black people that they don't like them just because of their skin and the negative things they've heard. So they don't like the immigrants because of the negative things that they've heard. But all you see is how hard they work. They come over here, they work, they bring their family, they work together. It's 4-5 families living in one house. They save their money, they buy their little groceries, everybody work in the house together, and they end up buying a community because they're not out there buying Jordans, and they're not out there buying Louis Vuitton purses, and they're not out there buying Gucci. They're not making mall runs and buying unnecessary stuff. They're saving for a better life. And you can't get mad because we take our money and we want to look good, and these people are investing in trying to make their life better.
Oh, it says Takesha Boo. You sure I'm not talking to Miss Hernandez or somebody? You sound like you
No,
are.
this is me. It's just you just gotta be honest sometimes, Anthony. You can't keep overlooking stuff.
Yeah.
You can't.
Shit,
when retirement comes, most of our people don't have money because we done took it to the mall because we want somebody to say, ooh, they shop, they got it going on.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be for real.
You could learn a lot from an immigrant. Wow. I mean,
listen,
what? Yeah.
You can, because let me tell you something. In the state of Alabama where I live, these people, there's like 3-4 families that live in one house. All the women go to the washer. You see them all in there washing and drying clothes. The men go to work. The women cook, take care of the children. The men go to work. They all pool their money together. The next thing you know, guess what? They have about 3 houses on that block. They have fixed them up, and now they separately living.
Wow. That sounds like J.D. Vance's America, though. The women are staying at home with the kids, the men going to work. You know,
J.D. Vance need to find a friend. Wait a minute, Hamster. Let me say this. You know it's bad when you own states and you can't hold rallies, that you got to turn your rallies into a press conference because you can't go to these states that you own and hold a rally.
Now, is that really true? I've heard people saying that. You're saying that Trump owes some states money and he cannot
for his rallies from last time, and they're not letting him come here. So that's why he keep having these press conferences, because they free rallies.
Wow. You're not the first person I've heard say that. Trump has plenty of money. Why would
he don't, handsome. He got plenty of legal fees, handsome. Now you're selling cereal. Did you see the MAGA O's?
Yeah, I did see that.
Did you see the cereal, handsome? Now you think he Tony the Tiger.
It looked like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I was wondering, was that fake news when I saw that?
Why you out here selling cereal, handsome?
That's got to be fake news, right?
Why? I looked it up on Amazon. They're on there.
Trump cereal.
They call MAGA O's. I promise you, they on Amazon. I had to go look because I didn't want to believe it, right?
Yeah.
I said, let me pull this cereal up and see if it's real. Handsome is real. He is Tony the Tiger #2.
I saw somebody posted it on YouTube, and I see somebody in the comments. I see somebody said, I'm looking right now. Somebody else let me know. Have you seen this? Takesha gotta be lying. Takesha must be lying.
I'm not lying.
So I'm just asking other folks that are viewing the program, go on Amazon and see if you see Trump cereal on Amazon. You gotta be lying. I can't believe that he would do that. Cereal?
MAGA O's, that's what they call.
Wow. Well, look, if people are bad, because I've had people tell me, you got a decent program, why aren't you selling merch? And I'm like, well, shit, what am I going to sell? But if people are buying your cereal, I guess I can't hate the man.
Soon he going to be selling lockets with some of his hair in it. And it ain't going to even be his hair. And they going to buy it.
Well, if he becomes president again, then he's set.
He's not going to be president.
Doesn't he have he does. He's entitled to a salary for the rest of his life, simply having the job, though.
He's not. We're going to take that salary when we lock him up. Once Kamala wins, those judges are going to be not going to be afraid to go ahead and do what they got to do, and he's going to jail.
Wow. And I see some folks in the comments that disagree with you. They saying they don't see it on Amazon, but others are saying they saw it. So I might have to look it up.
Put in Trump cereal. That's what I put in, and it's gonna pop up and show you where they're selling it at.
On Amazon.
I saw it on. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was Amazon that was at the bottom. But put in Trump cereal, and it's gonna pop up. It's an orange box, and one of them is called MAGA O's. I'm telling you.
Somebody said see Alex Radio or Alex Go Radio said in the comments, it says MAGA Crunch is $25 a box.
$25.
It has its own website. Wow.
I knew I wasn't going crazy. I may have had where it sold that wrong, but I pulled it up this morning.
Jesus Christ. Ace Ventura says Trump can't win because he will cheat. Remember, well, Trump doesn't cheat. The Democrats cheat, is what I'm hearing. But wow,
Cut it out.
$25. $25
Just like
a box.
Trump out there saying he 11 points ahead of Kamala. Stop it, Trump.
Right now, he's saying that.
Yes. He said at this rally, he said we're so far ahead, we're comfortable. We're really far ahead. Trump, stop lying.
Yeah, I think
they know they're not gonna go and look, they just gonna repeat it. Because I saw somebody on the live that repeated it. We're way ahead of her. I said, no, you're not. Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah, I think even Fox and some of the right-wing polls are showing that at the very least, Kamala's right there with him. 11 points ahead is insane if he's telling people that. That's, yeah.
Well, you know he just lied, man. Wow. Come on.
All right, and I see in the comments, the damn network in regards to you said she's lying. Said Smedley said she's dumb. He's a businessman. That's a business. So you're selling.
I'm dumb. Yeah. I'm dumb. He around here selling some damn cereal with his broke ass. And you gonna tell me I'm dumb. A man who owns a hotel and all that has gotten down to selling cereal, begging people for money, selling tennis shoes, that made a whole Bible to sell. Who dumb? You're dumb because you probably been buying that crap.
Well, to be honest with you, Takesha, I wouldn't mind getting my hands on some Trump paraphernalia. I mean, it may be worth something later on. Some Trump paraphernalia.
Bullshit. If you buy that, let me cuss. If you buy that bullshit, you're gonna be a goddamn fool. You already put your money in that dumbass MAGA hat that was made in China, and they keep talking about he for America, but your hat's made in China. Cut it out, handsome, okay?
We all are wearing.
Somebody, them hats could have been made in America.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but they're cheaper if you make them in China, I suppose. I mean...
But you ain't worried about being cheap, because you America first. It don't matter how much it costs. You America first. You make them over here. It don't matter what they cost.
Yeah. I see in the comments, someone said, what is that? Nikki says she is just hating. Do you have Trump derangement syndrome? That's what everybody's saying in the comments on YouTube. Saying you got Trump.
I don't like him. I don't like him at all. But you know what I do for him? Handsome. Even though I don't like him, I still pray for him.
All right.
I really do. I add him to my prayers. So I don't hate anybody. I can always pray for my enemy because the Lord said he'll make them your footstool. So I make sure I pray for those I don't like. But I don't hate him. Let me tell you what I don't like about Trump. I don't like the way he manipulates people that lack understanding. I don't like the way he tricks people that he know are poorly, like he said, poorly educated. I don't like people that think they're high and mighty. I don't like people that's full of pride. I don't like people that are narcissistic. That's why I don't like Donald Trump. Right. I think he takes advantage of the least of them, and that's what I don't like.
If that is true, that's very sad. That's distressing. I got to move it on to Keisha. You depressed me toward the end of that. Always a pleasure, though.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So, yeah, wow. So Trump exploits and takes advantage of folks. And she stated that it's usually the lesser educated. Wow, that's sad if that's the case. You guys don't know shit, says Gunner 1776. Back to the program. Looking at the comments, Trump is holding a press conference right now. Is he? What is he talking about? I'd be curious to know.
And 2933.
We know CNN.
Car insurance is up 55%, and they just announced it's going to be substantially higher than that within the next week. They expect big increases in car insurance. It's out of control. And insurance.
How is the president going to bring down car insurance? He going to go hang out with the progressive lady? He'll put on a pair of khakis and chill with State Farm. How is the president going to bring down car insurance? Wow. All right, let me go back to the comment section. I heard 2 seconds of that. What does the president have to do with car insurance? And by the way, if you're against government regulation and oversight, how can you go in and tell a car insurance company what they can and can't charge? It kind of goes against your own moniker. I don't How could the president bring down car insurance? Wow. And I see the comments. We are more than you, MAGA. You're done. Kamala 2024. MAGA's not done. MAGA's not going away no matter what happens in this election. I don't buy into that. He's going to kick out all of the immigrants that are causing all of the accidents. Duh. That's actually funny. Jerome, you believe car insurance in America is very high because people are coming here illegally, getting behind the wheel of a car, getting in a crash, and then having the insurance cover it. That's a hell of a connection you're making there. So you only hear 3 seconds, LOL. Yeah, I can't play the whole program because I'll get copyright strike there. MCO, whatever your name. I can't play the whole Trump speech because it's coming from Fox.
Beyond a number of 100%.
And it's over with, by the way. Neil Cavuto's back on. So it is what it is, but I can't play the whole speech. They'll copyright me. Because, by the way, all of my lives, they remain on YouTube eternally. They're always there. And, yeah, they'll copyright it. Let me go back to the box. If I just figure out what I just did wrong, I don't remove the whole TikTok. Here we go. All right, going back to the box. That's what my insurance company told me too, because mine went up 2 times with no accidents. That illegal immigrants are not even in most of the country to any significance like that. Now, I'm not going to pretend like that's not possible, that illegal immigrants. Thank you for the super chat, Dennis Calhoun. Appreciate the support. Now, companies can make up any excuse to get money out of you. So if they think you're dumb enough to buy that and you'll pay more because of it, then so be it. But I don't believe that they need to charge you more money. Immigrants ain't doing that much damage in terms of car accidents. You hear what's going on in areas where there's a lot of immigrants, like New York and Chicago. Some of the crime you don't hear them talk about car accidents. That's just not happening like that to the point where they need to charge you more for insurance. They're making up something, and if you'll buy it, if you'll fall for it, I can't hate them. But that's an excuse to charge you more. That's not happening. Going back to the box, Glance, good afternoon, welcome to the program. He's saying everything that is Harris's fault. Now, rising car insurance, how is that the fault of the Biden administration? And what will Trump do to bring down the cost of car insurance? I just don't understand that. I think he's throwing everything, you just want to throw everything at him at the kitchen sink. David Gentry, thank you for the subscription. Appreciate that. Thank you for subscribing to the program, showing the program some love. Tap the screen. We had to reset the live earlier, so the likes went down some. Appreciate you folks. If you would tap the screen, get the likes up to about 30,000. We can certainly do that. Certainly have enough numbers. We'll have to wait till the box resets because it's not bringing up my last guest. Can't happen. Trucks have doubled in price within the last 7 years. Well, I stubbed my toe and it's the Biden administration's fault. Y'all blame, that could be Biden derangement syndrome. Could be Biden derangement syndrome. So if Harris is copying Trump's policies because she has none, would you vote for her if she copies every single thing? Well, first of all, Kamala Harris is never going to copy all of Trump's policies because some of them are pretty far. Largest deportation in history, that ain't going to be copied by Kamala under any circumstance. Getting rid of the Department of Education, Kamala Harris is not going to copy that. So the idea that Kamala Harris is going to copy all of Trump's policies is not going to happen. Some of them are too far to the right. Getting rid of the FBI, getting rid of the FDA, Kamala Harris is not going to copy that. But you raise a good point because Trump does have some policies that are decent. Everything about the Trump administration was not bad. There's legitimate things out of the Trump administration, but Kamala Harris is not going to copy all of that shit. Thank you for the graphic there. I wanted to note who sent me that. I do appreciate the support when I do see that type of stuff. Was it Kathleen with the goose? Thank you, Kathleen. Going to the box, we'll bring her up. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Kathy.
Hi, handsome. How are you?
I'm doing good. Universal health care for all. What say you?
Well, I don't think that's what Kamala's supporting.
I'm asking you, would you support that though?
No, I wouldn't support it. I think that right now we have a problem as it is being able to see our own doctors. And so I think offering that, you're going to only inflate that problem. What I am for, though, is the expansion of the Affordable Care Act in terms of getting people covered with subsidies, more available subsidies to people who need it. Okay. There are people who are kind of stuck. They make too much money, that they can't get a subsidy. So they have no choice but to pay the full premium outside the marketplace or outside the federal exchange. So I think if we could expand what they call the federal poverty levels to where people can get subsidies and get some help paying for their premiums, I think that
if a person doesn't have a job and you give them help paying for their premiums, they don't have any money at all. Where's the rest of it going to come from?
Then they're going on Medicaid or Medi-Cal.
Okay. So why not just give people universal health care so you don't have to deal with all of this?
Again, I think you're going to see an influx in people getting the care that they need then. I really do.
You're going to see an influx of people getting the care. So, because most of the people in this country that do not get the care they need are at the bottom end of the scale. So if you give folks, because we're not just talking about folks that are on Medicare or on welfare, people who make $10, $12 an hour, some of those gigs can't afford, because they may be given health care at their employer, but the out-of-pocket cost, because their salary is so low, they can't afford it.
Okay, so if they're giving health care through the employer, then you're saying because the plan isn't suitable then?
Yeah, a lot of employers give their employees health care that is essentially useless. That, yeah, you got a card that says you have health care, but if you ever go to the doctor, the out-of-pocket, your portions is well beyond what you can afford to pay as an employee.
Okay. Right, I understand what you're saying, and a lot of those are high deductible health plans. I get those, and so you have to meet the deductible before you get any coverage, and I get that. And my daughter's actually in that situation. So what I say to that is, again, another expansion of the Affordable Health Care Act, because right now, if you do have an employer health care plan, you cannot go to the exchange, right? You cannot get a plan off the exchange or on the exchange if you have employer health care coverage.
Okay.
So then why don't we try to remove that limitation where you are able to get a plan on the exchange even though you are covered under your employer's health care plan?
I don't see why then you don't just skip right to, you're getting real close to universal health care at that point. I mean, what about all these folks in the gig economy? Because I used to do a lot of videos for Uber and Lyft drivers. They don't get them insurance at all. Them people are doing 60, 70, 80 hours a week, driving folks around. They are earning somewhat of a living, a very modest living. They can barely get by, but they are working for what they earn. They don't have no health care at all. And there's a lot of rideshare drivers in this country. They have DoorDash, all of the gig workers. They have no health care at all.
Right. And again, I go back to this. If you can I'm in California, okay? And the federal poverty level here is if you are single and you file your taxes as a single person, and if you make above over 19,000, if you make below, I think it's 20,000, anything over 20,000, you can get a subsidy. Okay, below 20,000, you're going to be on Medi-Cal. Okay,
but that's California, a very liberal state. You think they're doing that in Alabama?
I don't know what I'd have to look up their FPL to see what their subsidy requirements are.
Yeah, because most of the uninsured folks at the bottom of the socioeconomic end of the scale, they're in right-wing areas. in the left wing states, in the Democratic liberal states, yeah, they'll kick in those provisions you're talking about. But in right wing areas, to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, self-reliance places, they're not giving them that stuff.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Why can't it's not a state thing? We need to make it a federal thing.
Now you lean right, correct?
No.
I thought you were more. So you're supporting Kamala.
I am, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I was just go ahead.
Yeah, just because I'm not for universal health care doesn't mean that I lean right. Hell to the no. But I just and I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Why I say this is because I do this for a living. I do health and life insurance for a living. So and I sign people up on the exchange, right? I sign people up to get subsidies. So if that universal health care happens, there's a lot of people that are going to lose their jobs.
Why?
Partially like me, because this is what we do. We sell life and health insurance. So where's my job going to go?
Oh my God! So you're doing it from a capitalistic standpoint. Screw them, because I want my living to remain.
No. Because I was all for the Affordable Care Act. I was so glad to see that so many people could get help. I thought it was an amazing, amazing thing. That so people can get help. I think the affordable health care needs to be expanded so it can help more people out. I think universal health care, people can't even get to see their doctors now. I mean, I get calls all the time. I can't get in to see my doctor. I want to change my plan. Changing your plan's not going to get you any faster to see a doctor.
I don't know. I think you lost half the audience when you came out and admitted the only reason why you don't support giving people universal health care is because it'll hurt your bottom line. I think you start to sound like a regular capitalist.
I don't mean to sound like that because that's not what I'm about. I'm just saying if it would help more people, then I'm saying I just see the both sides of it. I just don't know how.
Well, but wait a minute. If everyone got universal health care, why couldn't you get a job making sure that they're being treated? It would create jobs as well. I mean, there's got to be somebody to manage a system that large. There would be other jobs created to offset the jobs you claim that would be lost.
And there could be, absolutely.
All right,
absolutely. Then. And, California we were the first state that was going to do a socialized healthcare state. We were the first state that was going to do that. I believe it was on Newsom's desk to sign. I'm not sure where it went, but it was on Newsom's desk to sign.
Yeah, I don't see, but the reason I guess I'm just saying is I don't understand your reasoning for not having it. Like I said, you're saying people will lose their jobs, but other jobs would offset that. So what is the other reason why you don't think it should be done?
No, you're right. And also, Medicare, I guess, Medicare is still going to be there. People are still going to be able to get Medicare supplements, I guess. I guess that wouldn't affect that. You still have a chance to get Medicare supplements on top of your A and B, I guess. I just look. I'm all about helping the American people. I'm on the left side. I didn't mean it to sound like that. That's not what I meant it to sound like. Tim, don't look at me like that. That's really not.
I'm only going by what's going in the ears, and the ears says I don't want to give poor people health care because I worried about my job. That's what I heard. I can't. Kathleen, you said it. What am I supposed to do? That's what I heard.
Okay. Well, all right. You got me in a box here, but I mean, of course, people do look out for themselves. On the bigger scale, then if we can do universal health care and everybody's on board, then I'm all for it. Let's help them out. Let's help people out.
All right, now now you're starting to turn more like your profile. You sound like a Democrat now, but for a minute there, you were starting to turn red right before my eyes. I was going to sing you a MAGA hat. I got to move it on, though, Kathleen. No. It'd be a cold day in hell if I do that. So. All right. Well, I don't want it to get too cold because if you get hypothermia, under your plan, we wouldn't have health care for everybody. Some people might freeze to death like Rose and Jack. So, appreciate it. I got to move it on, though.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Tim.
Anytime. Good conversation. Thank you, Kathleen. Also, Kathleen, thank you for the support. Socialism ends where the wallet begins. I don't know why people keep suggesting that anything you do for the populace is socialism. A real socialist country, America's nowhere near that. Giving citizens health care. Here's where I believe the issue is. I think folks don't really know what true socialism is. I think a lot of folks, particularly on the right, think that America is the only capitalist country on earth. Because if you ask them, well, name a capitalist country, all the rest of them give people universal health care. So a lot of people on the right think that America is the only capitalist country on the entire planet. Because all the rest of them give their citizens a lot of the things that the right refers to as socialism. All of Europe, most of them are giving their citizens not only universal health care, they're giving them paid time off when a woman has a baby for like a year. They get more vacation time. They get additional education beyond high school. All this stuff that the right calls socialist. So if you talk to folks on the right, they tend to think that America is the only capitalist country on earth because all of the other countries are doing the stuff that they refer to as socialism. I don't know where to go with that. Stupidity is someone claiming they're saying democracy by supporting a candidate nobody voted for. Nobody's running against Kamala. So the idea that they should have some kind of runoff or that the Democrats, didn't get the democracy didn't take place, so they've just propelled Kamala to the top. Flat out wrong. I'll tell you one thing. It should surprise no one that every voter that is suggesting that Kamala Harris didn't deserve to be there and there should be some kind of primary, every voter saying that leans to the right. The voters that are saying that there should have been some kind of Democratic primary as opposed to giving the position to Kamala, they're not going to vote for any liberal no matter who gets elected. The only goal of this is to have the Democrats have a primary so that each Democratic candidate can fight each other, dividing the Democratic Party, and it helps the Republicans out. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if the Democrats put a vote off or not. They're not going to support the people. So anybody telling you that you should get involved in a fight while admitting I'm not going to help you at all, don't take their advice. That's the only purpose of it. We don't want you to put Kamala to the top of the ticket because now you have a unified Democratic Party, knowing that if we made you guys vote her in, it would divide your party up and it would help us out. That's the whole purpose behind suggesting that the Democrats didn't do it the right way, is because it's working for the Democratic Party. And you'd rather the opposite take place. Good luck with that. We'll see you in 2028. It is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Got to get my butt back to work. I appreciate you folks tuning in Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. See you tomorrow. Thank you folks also on YouTube for tuning in. Sorry about the drop on TikTok.